Be right.
What would Socrates say to that?
It tickles my fancy.
Oh, okay.
Goosies.
I don't have hair.
Oof.
You got Marcos.
That's not.
Wait.
Yeah,
That's true. You do got me.
Get over here, Marcos. Let me look at you.
They
don't want it.
Tobin and Leroy, ready to deploy. Had to hit it with a little journalism, but that was a decoy. Better have about me, boy. Okay. Leroy and Tobin, hold to the show, man. Steers in the sauce with the show, and till then his half moon open. Sometimes go to the smell, man. Proof from a life by the moment. No proof. Like I always wanted him, I never hated him, I never traded him, I never traded him. You know what is a star? Like the city, the top play fly. You took a large, so many more. 10 in the more, never a bar. 8, 10 in the more, 2 to the P. Nothing to you, but it's something to me. Handsome as ever, and cute as can be. You can watch on YouTube with you for free. Ay. This one time for the Twitch. This one time for the text. This one time for the phone line. Whole time, what are they gonna do next?
You know, I just wish you guys would stop the quibbling.
The Miami Hurricanes have their starting quarterback for the 2026 season. I'm Donno in for Tobin. Leroy is here. Vlad is here. Jay Fig is here somewhere. But Leroy, you know my fancy is tickled today. Darian Mensah, after a week and a half long legal saga, guy who was second in the nation in passing last year, just under 4,000 yards, 34 touchdowns, 6 interceptions. He's going to be Miami's starting quarterback in 2026. He officially enrolled last night. Let's freaking go, Leroy. I got my Canes gear on. I couldn't be happier today.
It's crazy how that look. They were going to work something out simply because he was already down here.
Yeah.
So the fact that they kept that hush-hush until after, that's the amazing part. Because I'm more than sure somebody probably knew he was already here. But, I mean, this is like, what? This is equivalent to a player or a coach making a decision while still under contract. And I always thought that if there was one thing or one problem I had with the NIL, it is this. These young men need to learn what a contract is. Because once you go on with your life, you can't just decide like this in any profession. That being said,
Seems to me like he just did it.
no, yeah, but you can't. That's not life, Donno. That's not life.
It is like this just happened in real
fine.
life.
I know it just happened. Are you gonna let? I don't look. I'm
I'll let
cool
you
with
finish.
what happened.
I'll let you finish.
So the problem is in the real world, okay, these young men eventually going to have to come with the grip that when you sign a contract, you are obligated to that. If the NCAA would have had a better grip on this when NIL started, I think these are some of the issues that would have been hashed out, okay? Because you have these schools, and look, I'm not defending anybody in this argument, but what I'm saying is life. You have all these schools where when they're high school seniors, they go around, bounce around, and what have you, trying to get the biggest deal. These schools then say, we really want this guy. We're going to give him, the 2 or 3 million for 2 or 3 years so that we can have him.
Yeah.
And then after a year, he leaves for 4 million. Right? That's not life. That only applies here. And I blame the NCAA because these are things that they should have had a grasp of when it started. And now there's no control of it. So now you have these institutions that are going after the kids because the kids don't really know because somebody's telling them we can just go somewhere else. So that part of the NIL is getting out of hand. If you want these kids to be able to go somewhere and make money off their name, image, and likeness, which I 100% agree with, then you also have to teach them the other side of it. You also have to understand or let these, and here's the funny part about it. The funny part about this whole Duke thing is this. Remember, when NIL started, the university had nothing to do with it. It was the conglomerates. It was the people raising money, the businesses around town.
Yeah, the collectives.
So I'm the collectives. So I'm amazed that Duke was the one. Hey, we've never heard of any other university kind of get this, injunction and all these things, and Duke is the first university.
It's the first time this has ever happened that a university sued their student over this.
Right. So this is gonna be a problem. If that's the case, then only sign 1-year deals.
Right.
Right. But this is coming to a head. I do believe that, because you have these smaller universities that are putting up big money to get the player. And then after a year, a bigger school can come and just rip them away when they realize, oh, he can really play. That's a problem. It's going to be a problem.
Well, and you were right to say that the NCAA is the problem. And let me expand on that. So the whole hypocrisy of these situations is that the NCAA has fought tooth and nail to avoid making athletes employees.
Correct.
Like, they do not want that distinction.
Because they don't want to lose their. They don't want to
employees.
lose their. What is it called? The
leverage.
No. They're with taxes and stuff like. They don't want to.
Oh yeah. And they don't want to open for collective bargaining. They don't want to have to pay benefits out to athletes. So like the NCAA has fought to keep the distinction of these are not employees, these are student athletes or independent contractors. So the problem with these deals that Duke, had Darian Mensah sign, and Washington had Damon Williams sign one of this, and ultimately Williams did not want to fight them, so he stayed at Washington. The problem with these deals are that since players are not employees, these are marketing deals. The idea of a marketing deal stipulating that you are not allowed to enroll at a different institution, they are trying to disguise an employment contract as an NIL deal. And that comes back to an NCAA problem. It's like, Pete, you can't hold college players to the same standard that you hold an NFL player. Like if Tua Tagovailoa had decided a couple years ago, you know what, I know I've got multiple years left on my deal. I want to go play for the Washington, whatever they are now. You can't just walk out on that contract, but that is an employment contract that was collectively bargained. It's not the same thing in college. So I'm wondering, since they settled out of court, which is obviously good for me because I wanted Darian Mensah at Miami. It's good for Miami. I think it's also good for Darian Mensah because guess what, Leroy? Mensah played his ass off at Duke last year, and the ceiling for that team was 5 losses and an ACC championship without a playoff bid. Had Darian Mensah had the same season at Miami that he had at Duke, you're talking 12-0 or 11-1 in the regular season at Miami. So he sees the ceiling and the opportunity. Right. I'm happy he can get that. But yeah, the point to actually get there, it was a mess, and everybody's talking about Miami again.
You want to know why, Vlad and Donno? You know why I hate Canes fans?
Uh-oh.
Because
in Michigan?
No, it has nothing to do about where I went to school. Okay, now since the Canes get a player, now Leroy wants to teach these kids a contract lesson. Kick rocks, Leroy. That's why I hate Canes fans.
Keep them coming.
That's why I hate Canes fans. Because if you would have shut up and listened, 81 Magic, you would have heard that I was basically complaining to the NCAA for being cowards and not handling this when it started. And in the real world, you're not going to be able to just move around like this. You're not going to be able to without some kind of consequences. And that's the lesson that's being lost.
Well, I mean, I'll bring it back to the real world. I mean, you see coaches move all the time,
and that's the other reason why I say, wait, if a coach can, but you know what they did?
Yeah.
The NCAA put in a rule a few years ago, so they tried to stay ahead of this. If your coach leaves, then the players that he recruited can also leave.
That's true.
That came up a while ago, so they have tried to do something about the coaches just getting up and leaving, because a coach, and I'm going to tell you this, I went through it too. A coach will come in there and tell these parents and these kids how he will have responsibility of him growing up to be a young man, how he would, how he's going to be responsible and make sure your son is doing the right things, right? And then soon as he gets a big deal, he gets up and leaves. So, they changed that rule because of that. And so that's been in play for a while. And this guy, college players shouldn't be paid anything. I tell you what. I disagree
with that comment.
I will also say, in the real world, whatever you do for a person, you're usually in any other walk of life, you can get compensated, right?
Yeah, exactly.
And so if you don't know how long your career is going to be, these 4 years might be the length of some of these players' careers, then you should be able to benefit just like any other profession in the world.
F that. If me being on the field, me being on the court, me being on the diamond in college is earning you millions and millions of dollars.
100%. Yeah.
Correct.
You run that.
Correct. That's also real world stuff.
Yes.
So that's also real world
saying,
stuff.
Oh, they don't need to get paid. Like, God.
You know what it is? You know what that is? That's when people say that, that's people that don't have a skill that can make money like that. So they feel
privilege.
Bad. Or right.
Privilege.
Yeah.
Right. So that is, I get it. Look, my whole argument here was not about what happened with Duke, although the fact that Duke sued the player or went after the player shows you what's coming in the near future with these 2-year NIL deals and stuff like that.
Yeah,
right.
These 2-year deals might become 1-year deals now pretty quick.
Right. And so from that standpoint, that the NCAA is going to have to do something about that, because, everybody here, and I'm no different than anybody else. Somebody says, hey, I'll give you $3 million. Somebody says, I'll give you 2 years for $4 million. I'm like, 2 years for $8 million. I'm like, guess where I'm going? I'm going to get the $8 million. Now, after a year, if somebody says, I'll give you $5 million, right? Now, what does that contract mean? Because you know what's going to happen. You sign that 2-year deal and you suck. Can they take it back? Can they say, buddy, you're no good. You go ahead on, go somewhere else because you ain't getting that second year.
Well, I mean, in the real world of professional sports leagues, they can cut you. I mean, there's usually like a cap penalty for doing that, but you can get cut. Like,
right.
So,
exactly.
You can see an out on both sides.
So all my being on both, not being on the NIL, but playing NFL football and understanding all those, different things. Like, we only tend to look at one side of it.
Yeah.
Okay. Let's look at the side of, okay, a kid goes for NIL. He don't play that much his first year, but he signs a 2-year deal. Somebody else comes in and say, oh, you can come and play for us right away. Like, it's the same thing with recruiting. When you couldn't go somewhere, you had to sit out a whole nother year before you could play. People had, took pause in whether I'm going to transfer or I'm going to just stick this out.
Let's get to some headlines here, Leroy, which are brought to you by Doral Kia, home of the Pricito. You always pay less with your Pricito at Doral Kia. Just visit at Doral Kia or DoralKia.com. As we're talking about here, the Miami Hurricanes have officially signed Darian Mensah, who got through his legal entanglement with his former university, Duke. They settled outside the courts yesterday. Miami also adds Mensah's top receiver from Duke, Cooper Barkate.
They did.
Yeah, Cooper, but he's officially a Cane. 1,106 receiving yards last year, 7 touchdowns. He joins a loaded Miami receiving corps. Miami also added, most recently, Oregon State, but also a former Florida State defensive back, Conrad Hussey, in the portal yesterday. Miami Hoops will host Stanford tonight at 9 o'clock. Miami Heat will host the Orlando Magic tonight at 7:30. You can hear it right here on 104.3 WQAM. And so, yeah, Leroy, that was the other part of it. Cooper Barkate to Miami as well. Now, the two of them, we were tracking them around South Florida yesterday. Mensah and Barkate had their official visit to Miami yesterday afternoon. They got their tour of campus, tour of the facilities. Then they went out to Prime 112 with Malachi Toney, Mario Cristobal, Shannon Dawson, the OC, and Edgerrin James was at Prime 112 as well. And then the deals were announced shortly thereafter. And it's going to be a good situation, Leroy, that Mensah is not only going to have his guy Barkate to throw to, Malachi Toney. Yeah, Miami added a couple of other really good receivers from the portal, Vandrevius Jacobs and Cam Vaughn, Dalen Upshaw and Josh Moore.
What are they doing about D-line?
Yeah, well, the D-line, I'm actually not worried about D-line. I know, obviously, you're losing generational guys in Bain and Mesidor. Miami added Damon Wilson from Mizzou, who was one of the top edges last year, 9 sacks, and he was like near the top of the country in pressures. Marquise Lightfoot is back, who had a really good year behind Bain and Mesidor. Hayden Lowe, who missed the whole year last year with injury, should be a strong edge rusher this year. So I think a defensive line, they're going to be good. I think maybe like I think they're going to be good on the offensive line, but maybe offensive line more of a concern because you lose 4 of your starters from last year. Francis Maui-Noah on the right tackle, Markel Bell on the left tackle. Came to find out, like Markel, actually, I think he did want to come back to Miami for one more year, but he couldn't get his waiver granted. So he's going to the NFL. Inez Cooper at right guard, James Brockermeyer at center. So Miami's going to have first-time starting tackles, Leroy. Probably Matthew McCoy on the left side, and probably a true freshman. Jackson Cantwell is the favorite to start on the right side. He's a 5-star recruit.
So it's quite possible. Was it Maui-Noah or
Maui-Noah?
Maui-Noah. He might be the first Cane taken.
Yeah, either him or Bain. I think Bain probably the first one, but it could be either or.
Right. Well, because here's another pet peeve I have with football.
Yeah.
How can you turn on the film and watch Bain play and then say he dropped in the draft because his arms are too short?
I hate that. Yeah.
I hate that. I played with a guy that was about the same size as Reuben Bain. John Randall.
Oh, yeah, I've heard of him. Yeah.
Randall.
The short arms, man. The short arms really held him back.
John Randall was about 265 and played over the center, and they moved him around. So when I have personal experience playing against and with a guy who everybody said was too small and is a Hall of Famer and played in the middle of a D-line. So I would say to any critics out there, do your homework, right? Turn on some film for once instead of just looking at measurables.
Yeah.
And watch this man run and get all over the field. Don't go against prototype too often. Yeah. Randall is different. I'm telling you right now, the energy, the quickness, and the ability to run and cover, go all over the field. Bain has some of those same attributes, including his work ethic from what they say. So I'm telling you right now, the first team or first person that says that without looking at the film, discredit them. They don't know what they're doing. They don't know what they're talking about.
You know who's going to be happy with that?
Who?
A really good team who just probably had an off season this year.
Correct.
And then he's going to fall right to him like Warren
maybe he
Sapp
falls
did.
to 11, eh? Maybe Maybe he falls to the Miami Dolphins.
Dude, I'm telling you right now, it really bothers me that we can turn on film and see a player stand out. Now, granted, it's not against the level of competition he's going to be playing against. But we could see a guy. There's certain things you can't coach. That guy's energy, his ability to chase down plays, his ability to be all over the field making tackles, his ability to get after the quarterback. And I think that he would fit perfectly on a team that uses 4 down linemen, right? He can play outside. They can maybe drop him off in like flat coverage. They can do a lot of different things, move him around, run a lot of games with him because of his quickness. That don't tell me that guy is going to struggle at the next level. When you turn on that film and watch him dominate all over a football field, shame on you. And anybody who says that coming up in the draft, reporters or anything, turn off your damn TV because we've watched it.
Feels like Kuiper's going to be all over that one. Well, I don't know. I think I've got this Bain guy, 4th round on my board because the arms are a little short. But I want it when we come back. We'll circle back to the Hurricanes, but got to talk some Bill Belichick.
Oh my goodness.
Bill Belichick is not going to be a first ballot Hall of Famer. Here's why. You want to keep it right here. Brand new episode of the Tobin and Leroy Show. Donno in for Tobin on 104.3 WQAM. Welcome back into the Tobin and Leroy show. Donno, Leroy, Vlad with you. Jay Fig will make her grand entrance at some point on this awesome episode. So Leroy, I know Dolphin fans are going to feel a certain way, and there's probably some doing cartwheels after the news that came out yesterday. But for as much as I dislike Bill Belichick,
right,
and as much as I hate the fact that he and Tom Brady had a barricade around the AFC East and won 6 Super Bowls together, I can't deny Belichick's greatness. And I understand that, there were a couple of scandals in there, which I don't believe should define his legacy. I don't think Bill Belichick is significantly less great because of Spygate or Deflategate. But we got the news yesterday, Leroy, that Bill Belichick will not be a first-ballot Hall of Famer. They're pulling the baseball Hall of Fame type of power move on him. They're treating him like a baseball steroid user, that he did not get the 40 of 50 votes necessary to get into the Hall of Fame on his first ballot. And, to me, Leroy, this is a joke. If you're not going to vote Bill Belichick immediately into the Hall of Fame, it makes a mockery of the Hall of Fame, and it makes a mockery of the entire process.
Here's what I replied to somebody on Twitter, and I said this. It diminishes the Hall of Fame.
Yeah.
And me, along with all the other professional athletes and the coaches and whatever, go into a room for the first time to play professional sports, and they say, leave your ego at the door. This is about the team. This is not about you. And we're being judged by a bunch of guys who get up in their feelings because either somebody wouldn't talk to them or were mean to them. And I think these decisions should be made by peers, by people that have been in those rooms, that understand what these players and coaches go through on a daily basis and how they achieve that excellence for such a long period of time. It doesn't harm Bill Belichick. It doesn't harm former players. It discredits the clowns that vote for the NFL Hall of Fame, because you went in that room, unlike any person that you elect or not elect, with an ego, with feelings, something that if you wrote about what the guys on the field were doing, if guys on the field were doing that, you would write a terrible article saying that he's selfish, saying that he's not about the team, saying all he cares about is him. You would write that story. Then you turn around and act the same way. It's a joke. It is a joke. I don't care whether you like Bill Belichick or not. That man's accomplishments warrants him to be the first decision of any of those lists. You can have questions about other players because you're comparing them to other players. But when it comes to coaches, there's only one other guy you can compare him to. And he coached here.
Yep.
That's it. That's it. And so there's other guys that are trying to be in that class. But as of right now, there's only 2 guys you're having a conversation about. And so it's pathetic. It's a joke. Yeah. And I saw something on Twitter that said that, you know who had to say something?
Bill Polian. And Bill Polian, was watching ESPN First Take, and they said that an anonymous source who was at the voting said that Polian's the one that brought up Spygate and Deflategate.
Yeah.
And he's the one that said that he thinks Belichick should wait a year. And then he comes out last night saying, I
saw
am
that.
shocked that Bill Belichick is not in the Hall of Fame.
Right.
How
Wait, and
shocked
you know what?
when
You know what
in
he's
there,
doing?
dumbass?
You know what Bill Polian's doing for the people who remember Seinfeld. You remember when Uncle Leo? I was old. I'm confused. So
Right,
Polian
right.
Polian was asked, "Hey, did you vote for Belichick?" And he's like, "I don't remember." Like,
Right.
how do you not remember if you voted Bill Belichick into the Hall of Fame or not?
So I'm
you don't
gonna say this, and here's the other thing, is that you let one guy who they don't put on TV anymore because he lost credibility with Lamar Jackson.
That from then on, he should never talk.
And
that was it.
from that point on, when he says something, you have to, if you're going to talk about Spygate and you're going to talk about Deflategate, then I'm going to say, hey, man, why would we listen to you? You wanted Lamar Jackson to be a wide receiver. So it works both ways. But the cowards in that room, the cowards in that room, listen to him and just ignore it. His credibility.
I would have ignored him completely. Just said, yeah, sorry, I'm voting for Bill. Sorry, Polian.
So
because you know
it's
why,
crazy.
right?
Listen,
he used to beat them. That's what thing. He used to beat the teams that he was the general manager of.
Correct.
The Colts.
With the Colts.
Correct.
And Bills and all of that.
Correct.
He whooped that ass. So that's why. It was his way of getting back.
That it's a crazy thing. Look, we all at some point in our lives take a stand that maybe is unpopular, or maybe you have that belief on your own. And that's fine.
I've never taken an unpopular stand in my entire life.
but that's fine. But guess what? Own it. And then the coward didn't even have the fortitude, the cojones to come on. How the hell you forget 15 minutes after you voted?
Yeah. I don't remember.
Anyway, you know when the old get caught, they all of a sudden they got they got dementia all of a sudden.
The old love to lie.
It's dude, like, we need to stop. We need to, and the reason why this drives me crazy more than a little bit is because those same people in that room go watch football every Sunday and they judge. They don't judge by the play. They don't judge by the ability. They judge by all the other things, right? This guy's, he's a malcontent. This guy is this. This guy is that. I had the same problem when they did it to T.O. I'm not a fan of T.O.
Yeah, what did they, 3 years they punished him.
I'm not, listen, I think some of the things he did in a team environment were toxic.
Yeah.
But you're being judged on what you did on that field. And we need to get over ourselves and acknowledge that you don't have to like somebody. Here's what I tell people all the time. Separate the art from the artist.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's not the Hall of Integrity, it's the Hall of Fame.
And so
if it was integrity, half these guys wouldn't be in the Hall of Fame.
Correct.
And a bunch of kickers would be in.
Correct. So I just think we all need to get over ourselves with all of a sudden the world is making a moral stand. Look around. No, you're not. You're not. You ain't got no damn morality. Stop it. And then all of a sudden we only have morality when it comes to sports. Get the hell out of here.
Yeah,
They're clowns. They're clowns.
Yeah.
All
Tell
of
them,
them.
Leroy.
Clowns. Because they let somebody convince them to do something they know wasn't right.
Yeah.
Naive.
Yeah, so Jarrell in the chat says that'd be like Pat Riley or Phil Jackson not getting in. I mean, it feels that way, right? I mean, you essentially have denied the Phil Jackson of football his first ballot status.
Wait a minute, guys. So Belichick doesn't get in the first ballot. Brady can't get in first ballot either.
Yeah, he deflated the footballs. He had more to do with the deflating than Belichick did. The spying, that was Bill. The deflating was Tom.
Well, you know damn well, if they ain't letting Bill Belichick get in, Polian go all of a sudden remember when it's time for Brady.
Yeah.
Well, remember that, when Brady deflated his balls, right?
Yeah.
Balls.
It's
crazy.
it's like I just, man, I'm exhausted by all these self-righteous people that all of a sudden want to do right. And I get up every morning and look at the damn world and realize, oh, you know what? Athletics is low-hanging fruit,
Yeah.
right? Everybody has a moral stand with athletics. This kid shouldn't be doing that, and this kid shouldn't be doing this, and this, and it's always sports. Then when it comes to anything, the actual things that control how you live your life, you're quiet. You don't say nothing. So as an athlete, I'm tired of it. I'm tired of being low-hanging fruit.
Yeah. I'm tired of it on your behalf. You know what I'm also tired of? I'm tired of not going to break. We're going to get there on time. I know Timbo Slice suggested we should just do the whole show, no breaks. But
I wanted Leroy to keep going on, man.
I can keep going. There's certain things that just drive Vlad. There's certain things that just drive me crazy. The phoniness of people that have power and stand up, and all of a sudden now they're the foremost experts on morality. Get the hell out of here. It's football, dude. It's football. That's it.
When you give these nerds a little bit of power, they use it and they abuse it, right? Well, I want to talk about potential optimism for Giannis Antetokounmpo before the February 5th trade deadline. I mean, it's out there, Vlad. The optimism is out there. You want to keep it right here. Tobin and Leroy show continues on WQAM. All right, welcome back into the Tobin and Leroy show. Donno in for Tobin today. We got Leroy, we got Vlad in the building. So here's my hopium for the day, Leroy and Vlad. According to NBA insider Marc Stein, who posted this on his Substack last night, the Miami Heat supposedly has the belief that they can get the Bucks to make a deal with them for Giannis Antetokounmpo. This is one of the tasty nuggets that we'll be waiting on between now and the February 5th trade deadline. Vlad, I know you're a Knicks guy. You're a plant here. You're a spy sent to destroy us. Well, why are you chuckling at the Giannis possibility?
Because Milwaukee don't know what they're doing. So
that's true.
So the fact that the Heat think they have the potential trade package to give is funny to me, because I don't think they have the assets that Milwaukee will want. And Milwaukee, like I said, Milwaukee doesn't know what they're doing.
Well, they haven't even decided if they're moving on from Giannis or not. Like, they don't know, are they going to go full rebuild or not?
And they're acting like they're going to be buyers in the trading deadline as well. So that's weird.
Yeah.
So you don't know who they're trading.
Yeah. Because they got guys that they're maybe able to trade. They don't know what they're doing. So that's why I'm laughing at the Heat. Nobody knows what the Milwaukee would want in order to make that trade happen. So that's why I'm laughing. And also, I don't think you have the assets that Milwaukee would want.
Vlad, it's one of those situations where you can throw that out there, but without knowing what anybody has to do to get, Giannis, it like if he would have threw it out there and said, here's what a deal might look like. Because I think in order for the Heat to do it, they're going to have to trade. It's going to be 2 or 3 teams.
Yeah.
So they're going to have to trade guys to certain teams, get picks, and kind of do things that way. So it's not just going to be Giannis. You're going to see 2, 3 teams involved. And just to say that a deal's being worked out between Milwaukee and the Heat, there's got to be some other teams involved, because you need picks. What if they got to give up 4 picks? They got to go out and get some picks. Do you want me to give
you so Marc Stein did put like a hypothetical in there. Do you want me to give you what he said? All right, so here's first he says the most common answer to the question when posed to various league executives continues to be Miami, he writes. Now, is that merely because the Heat themselves are said to be transmitting a vibe of confidence that they can somehow sway the Bucks? Possibly. Miami, for what it's worth, is said to believe it has a real shot at crafting a pathway to Antetokounmpo. He says the Heat's presumed best offer, mind you, would likely be headlined by Tyler Herro, Kel'el Ware, and draft capital. Is that enough to speed up the Bucks' timetable, he said. I don't know, does that... He didn't specify what the draft capital is, but Tyler Herro, Kel'el Ware, draft capital, I don't know. I think Vlad might be right. You might have to get multiple teams involved.
The only way I would give it, what Marc Stein is saying, some validity, if Miles Turner is moved.
Yeah.
If Milwaukee moves Miles Turner, then I could see where, okay, maybe there is a way for the Heat to get Giannis, because if you're going to give up a center that you sign to pair with Giannis, if you're going to trade him and then you get a younger, cheaper, but could possibly be a better center in Kel'el, then yeah, I could see that happening. And then you bring back the hometown kid. That way you could tell that to the Milwaukee Bucks fan base. But other than that,
the problem is, and here's the issue that I have with all of this. Kel'el is a good player. He's not where he's going to be, but we've seen flashes of, wow, when he gets there, he looked like he might be somebody that could take over a game.
Yeah.
And for the Heat, the way they've treated him, you want everybody to believe that he is that guy while not showing him, while not doing the things that would suggest he is that guy.
Yeah, that's fair.
So how you gonna how you gonna sit Kel'el and bench Kel'el and complain about Kel'el and then say, oh yeah, he can be your center of the future when he can't even be your center of the future? Because we all know bigs take a while to get, to get in that prime, to get, to where they're helping and doing all those things right there. He can stretch the floor. So there's that. But the Heat almost like at times wash their hands of Kel'el. Now you're going to say he's a viable trade piece? You're almost doing it to yourself.
That's a good point.
Like, man, I'd have that guy out there balling 2010. I'd be coaching his ass up. If that's what you want to do, if that's your end game, is to be able to use him to get some viable pieces to improve your team sooner, or some viable trade capital to get who you want, there is nothing that they've done that would lead anybody else in the league to believe that he's that guy, because you haven't treated him that way. So I don't know, man. It just seems like you're coaching Kel'el like you're gonna keep him forever, and then you're not.
Yeah. Well, and the other part of this situation, like as Vlad points out, pulling off this deal is difficult under any circumstances, right? A player the caliber of Giannis, a team that probably maybe wants to keep him and doesn't know what they're doing, but that at the same time, Leroy, I feel like a lot of Miami Heat fans are like losing faith in Miami's actual ability to pull off a deal like this, given in recent years the Damian Lillard saga, which ended in him not coming here, and Kevin Durant not coming here. Like, I don't know, I feel like people are losing a little bit of faith in this organization doing what's necessary to pull off a blockbuster trade, because they fall in love with certain pieces that they just don't want to attach to these deals, and they also don't have the draft capital typically.
Here's what I would say. I would say that they're in a place now where they have a playing team with very little assets.
Yeah, 7 seed right now.
Right. With very little assets. And I think, and you don't have a lot of picks because you went after certain guys before. That seems to be the problem. So there's only one or two ways this can go, right? Every time you say Tyler Herro and trade in the same sentence, he's hurt. Like we've been doing, dude.
Yeah,
we've been doing this
for like 5 years,
2 or 3 years. Am I lying?
More than 2 or 3.
You're right, but here's the other thing, guys. Giannis has been getting hurt a lot over the last 4 or 5 seasons.
Oh yeah, he has. Yeah.
So you could get Giannis, and then all of a sudden you get him. He's playing good for 2-3 weeks, and then he's hurt. Another strain calf. You're gonna be like, ugh, what's going on here? So, Giannis is still top 5 player in the world, but
right. It got some Jimmy vibe to it.
A younger Jimmy vibe. Yeah. A younger Jimmy vibe, and the fact that he's not as durable as he once was.
Well, and keep in mind that I think part of the thing that I could say is that I think he'd be a different player here. So maybe it wouldn't be as much stress on what is asked of him. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I would also say that, look, Spo tried to change it up a little bit. And I think from that standpoint, you got to be open if you get somebody like Giannis, you have to be open to doing things to kind of keep everybody healthy. And I don't know what that is, but they got to figure it out. But first things first, if you're going to make the trade work, it's going to be 3-4 teams involved.
Yeah, I'm with you on that. All right, we're coming up to the 11 o'clock hour. You just want to make sure before we hit it, it's no longer our Tua, right? We moved on.
No.
We moved on.
But football-wise, Leroy, you got a new coach.
Who? Jim Schwartz.
Nope.
Give it to me.
Todd Monken.
Todd
Nope.
Monken.
Yes.
Carson Beck's favorite offensive coordinator.
The Ravens offensive coordinator. John Harbaugh.
I would say,
not a
you want me to tell you what the deal breaker was for a lot of coaches?
What?
Is that?
You had to keep Jim Schwartz.
Yeah.
They want to bring their own people in. But
Any coach would.
Dude, you're going to be hard-pressed to find somebody better than Jim Schwartz as defensive coordinator.
Yeah.
And keep in mind also, when it comes to making people happy, it ain't on the offensive side of the ball. It's on the defensive side of the ball.
Right. Do you like Monken? Like I'm a fan of his as strictly as an offensive mind.
But here's the problem. Okay, and here's why the Dolphins, the Browns, and the Raiders, as of right now, you weren't going to get a top name coach. You don't have a quarterback. Okay. Now, I say the Raiders last because they have the first pick in the draft and going to probably get Mendoza. So that might be appealing to a lot of guys. But when you look at Cleveland, when you look at Miami, right? Who's going to take that job? When you see the things that, especially, I mean, there's a lot of teams. You see how many, looks that Mike McDaniel and how many looks that the coach from the Browns got, Kevin Stefanski.
Yeah.
How many looks they got? Because guess what? They acknowledged the fact that part of the reason why they struggled was no quarterback.
Yeah.
And why those two guys only went somewhere and looked at a place that had a viable quarterback.
All right, we got the 11 o'clock hour coming up. The Hafley hour is coming your way next year on 104.3 WQAM. Welcome back into the Tobin and Leroy Show, 11 a.m. hour here on 104.3 WQAM. Alex Donno, Leroy, Vlad with you on this glorious Wednesday morning. You know, Leroy, I haven't had a chance to talk with you since the Dolphins made the addition of Jeff Hafley as their next head coach. And, like, again, not the sexy name, but I think you made the ultimate point. When you don't have a quarterback in place, it's hard to go out and get the John Harbaughs of the world, or the Jim Harbaughs, or the Eddie Harbaugh of the world. Yeah, or the Mike Tomlins. But, like, yeah, I don't know. Am I getting the Goosies too much when I'm watching Hafley being interviewed by Rich Eisen, and he's talking about how he slept at his desk for 3 years when he was a graduate assistant and how hard he's worked to get to this point. It's like, man, I really, really, really want this one to work out because as a lifelong Dolphin fan, which means I've suffered for the last 25 years or so, I so badly want this to be the guy.
So there's two things to this. You always want the new guy to work out because the last guy didn't, right? And
right, which in the Dolphins' case, the last how many guys haven't worked out? The last
But
several.
So I would say if you look at some of the coaches' failures previously, a lot of it had to do with the decisions that were made on who to put on the field.
Yeah.
Right? And so I'm gonna cut a lot of the guys a little slack, right? That being said, we want Hafley to work out because of how we felt about Mike McDaniel. Yeah. But here's the problem. The situations that the two have are very similar. And I would say that we're going to see how good of a coach and how good Sully is at bringing players in.
Yeah.
When you see what the team looks if you don't have a viable quarterback.
Right.
And that's been the issue. And they might want to bring in Malik Willis, or, you know, I think the smartest thing they did to this point was not say anything about Tua.
Mm-hmm.
Because you want to leave your options there because you don't know what your options are at this moment. And if that's the case, you don't want to burn any bridges.
No, sir.
You know, because guess what? I lived that with Baker Mayfield and Cleveland Browns.
Mm-hmm.
You see what I mean? To the point where they burned the bridge first and then had to give another quarterback $230 million to make sure they got a quarterback. You see what I mean?
Yeah.
So I like the fact that they did that. That regardless of what anybody thinks about Tua, they have not gone one way or another yet. First, let's get a plan. First, let's see what we have, which is the prudent way of doing things.
Absolutely.
And so I'm going to sit back and wait and kind of understand and try to figure it out with everybody what they're going to do at that position and then go from there. If they do sign Malik Willis, then it's going to be a situation where, okay, we're going to ride with one of these two, either him or who's the quarterback from Texas? Ewers. And then go from there, right? But nothing has been done yet. That's how you do things. For people to automatically say, well, they're not going to keep Tua, they just cut bait, just do, relax. You're paying them $50 million regardless.
Yeah, that's the thing. That's the elephant in the room, is that very large contract.
So from that standpoint, if he got to sit like Kirk Cousins, so be it.
Yeah.
Somebody might need a quarterback, as they all do. You can work out something when it's more favorable to you. But $50 million is never going to be that favorable.
Right. Like I do think the Tua era has passed, right? He's obviously not the long-term franchise quarterback that we all
my
hoped
question
he was
is
gonna
this.
be. Yeah.
What if they bring in Malik Willis and you got Ewers and Tua, and they're all going to compete for the job and Tua wins the job?
Then that probably says a lot about Malik Willis and Quinn Ewers.
Well, you don't know yet.
Yeah, right. I still think you need to go get a quarterback.
Correct.
You need to find a different quarterback because I can't see Tua leading this team to the promised land. Like I had my reservations before last year, and last year even I was confounded as to how bad he was.
But again, I also understand this. Okay. Where's this team going next year with the salary cap held they're in?
Yeah, nowhere. You're in neutral.
So if you're in neutral, you don't need to make no big moves at any position just yet.
Yeah.
And that's the thing that people have to understand is that there's a lot of people don't like Tua. I get it. I understand it. He earned that. He earned that with his play.
Yeah.
So I'm not even just. He earned it. That being said, you got a lot of money out there that you got to decide on what to do with. And a lot of them, a lot of decisions, a lot of the decisions that have to be made are going to be based on, putting a team on the field, but also getting out of this cap hell.
Yeah, and with Sully just having gotten here, it's fair to give him some time to assess the entire situation. Like, don't be dictating moves to him and don't be pressuring him to make moves too quickly.
Correct. So I like the fact that they've said a lot of things about the position, but not about the players.
Yeah.
Right? That's smart. That's smart. That's one of the things that I like. We sometimes get caught up with making people feel good that we back our own asses into a hole. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. And I like the fact that they didn't do that. So we'll see. And if you're going to build through the draft, that means that it's going to be a couple of years that you're going to get rid of a lot of veterans. You're going to, cut the fat, as they would say. There's a lot of decisions that have to be made money-wise first before you even talk about players. So I'm more than sure that's the conversations they're having now, along with watching a boatload of film.
Well, let's get to some headlines, which are brought to you by Doral Kia. You always pay less with your Pricito at Doral Kia. Visit us at Doral Kia or at DoralKia.com. Miami Heat in action tonight, 7:30 p.m., hosting the Orlando Magic. Heat currently 7 seed, Orlando the 8. Heat are favored by 3.5 points tonight. Miami Hurricanes are hosting the Stanford Cardinal. And it's a late night game in Coral Gables, a 9 o'clock game. I'm gonna have to drink some caffeine later this evening.
Are they doing that for Stanford?
I mean, they should. I don't feel like they owe Stanford any favors as the road team. It's like, hey, we'll do it at your time zone. They like to do these double headers where you have a 7 o'clock game and a 9 o'clock game. So you get these from time to time.
Right.
Hopefully Miami Hoops gets another big win because they had a tough week last week and they had a big bounce back at Syracuse over the weekend. So hopefully they have another big win. It's been a big week so far for the Miami Hurricanes football team with transfer portal additions, including former Duke standout quarterback Darian Mensah, who has officially signed as of last night. His top receiver from Duke joined him in Miami. Cooper Barkate has signed. Miami also added former Oregon State and FSU safety Conrad Hussey in the portal yesterday. So, I mean, Leroy, I know, I know we come off the tough national championship game loss, but Miami is loading it up, and it looks to me like the offense is going to be better than it was in 2025, and hopefully the defense will be as good as it was in 2025, and in 2026, ain't nobody getting in our way. No more Fernando Mendoza in college football.
I would say, for me, one of the things I'm going to look for as the summer plays out and we get to camp and spring ball and stuff like, do they even do spring ball anymore?
They do. Yeah. It's going to start like probably first week of March.
I would say that I'm really going to pay attention to that run game.
Yeah.
Right. Like you can get away with not having those guys on the defensive side of the ball because you got some players, right? You have some players on the defense. Offensively, that drives everything else, is that offensive line. And it always has driven everything with Mario. So when you have to replace a couple of studs on that offensive line, I want to see how that plays out. And that would be my first, not area of concern, but just paying attention a little bit, because we don't know what that's going to look like when you've had some consistency at those positions for a couple of years.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm looking probably Matt McCoy, probably the new left tackle starter. These are just my estimations. Maybe Samson Okunlola, the new left guard, or you could even flip those two spots. They both will be on the left side. True freshman Jackson Cantwell could be the first-year starting right tackle. It worked for Maui Noah a few years ago. And Cantwell
whoa.
What's that? Jackson Cantwell's the number one high school player in the country last year. Number one.
Hold on, though. Maui Noah is going to be a top 10 pick.
And Jackson Cantwell's going to be a top 5 pick.
I know, but you're still replacing the top 10 pick.
Yeah,
Let's just taper our
enthusiasm a top 10 pick with an even better player is what we just did, man.
Are you just hoping?
I mean, he was a higher rank. Cantwell higher ranked out of high school than Maui Noah was. Both 5 stars, but Cantwell higher ranked.
Okay. I mean, I'm just saying, when you replace a top 10, maybe even top 5 pick, I'm not just gonna say, oh, but this guy's better.
We can do better.
Better than top 5 pick.
I think we replaced him with the top 2 pick.
Okay. All right. Now that's we're making a lot of assumptions there. I'm not saying he can't play. Let me be clear. I'm not saying he can't play, but when you're talking about top 5, top 10 in the NFL draft, and a freshman coming in and you saying, oh, he's going to be better than that guy, I'm like, all right. He can be good, but we don't know that. We don't know that.
And behind that offensive line, Leroy, honestly, my most pleasant surprise for Miami in the transfer portal, outside of the guys they added, was being able to retain their entire running back room from last year. Like Mark Fletcher, I thought with how well he played in the playoffs, I thought he was going to change his mind and go pro, but he didn't. He's sticking with Miami. So Fletcher is back. Gerard Pringle was in the portal for a hot second, and then he decided to leave the portal and stay in Miami. Marty Brown is staying in Miami. Jordan Lyle, who barely couldn't get on the field this year, he decided to stay in Miami. He was really good 2 years ago, and they bring in Javion Mallory, a really good freshman running back. So we're talking 5 deep at least in the running back room this year.
Yes, and you'll probably need all of them. I think I would say this, unlike any other position, maybe wide receiver, you only need to play 1 year. You only need to get 1 year of really productive play to put your name out there. Getting 1,300 yards 2 years in a row, all you're doing is looking at the options in the draft, because that's you're in the same spot. So from that standpoint, I think to be honest with you, Fletch liked playing football with his boy.
I think so too.
You know what I mean? That I think when I left as a redshirt junior. I went 4 years, but I left a year early technically. And that was the hardest decision to make, not for the money, not for playing for Michigan. I love playing for Michigan, but just being with my boys, right? Yeah. That was a tough decision to make, because you keep in mind your class, when y'all come in there, y'all together all the time, either whether it's training table, study hall, all those things, you with the same group of guys all the time. And that sticks. And for me personally, we had 5 running backs that came in at the same time.
Wow.
And
That's
so, and we
in
were
the same class?
And we were really close.
Oh my God.
Right. I was the last one to sign.
Wow.
And they go, "You're not worried about all the other running backs?" I'm saying, "How you know they ain't worried about me signing? I'm not just giving the L." So yeah, so I could see, with Malachi, with the success they've had, with all the things going on, that they could say, like, yeah, let's run this back.
Yeah.
And he might got a little pocket change.
I mean, you played well before the NIL era. You also didn't have potentially 7 figures to maybe keep you at Michigan, where Fletcher has that at Miami.
So I would say this: if he was in my shoes, he would have definitely stayed, because my first year in the NFL as the 45th or 40th pick, right? $100,000.
Yeah. That's not going to cut.
Yeah.
That's not going to pay the bills.
Put it this way, guys that signed where I signed make what I made my first 3 years in the first year.
Hey, we've come a long way with the money, I guess.
Yeah. Yeah. And that's fine. You know? And the thing is I'm cool with it. I'd like egg them up, go get that money.
Yeah, sure.
Sure. I think it's better for college football if a guy can make nearly the same amount of money or in the same neighborhood and make money. It entices guys to stay one more extra year. That makes college football better.
Yeah.
Put it this way, when I came out, there were so many underclassmen that came out, we had our own combine. There were 2 combines.
Whoa. There was an underclass combine?
Yes. Go look it up. In 1989, there was 2 combines. And the worst thing is when they had it in Indy. Mm-hmm. There was Farm Aid going on.
Oh, that's big in Indy, Farm Aid.
We had to do all of our stuff in 40-degree weather outside.
Oh, geez. So like Farm Aid in Indy is the equivalent of the boat show in Miami, right? Like here we have boats, there they have the tractors. It
was a concert.
I thought it was like a trade show. It was
a concert.
Huh.
So
Farm Aid. What kind of music?
If you look it up, it's the only year they had 2 combines.
And yours was outside in the cold. Well, I want to talk more when we come back about this very strange era of college football, because it's not just Darian Mensah at Miami. There's also Ole Miss stealing Luke Farrelly from Clemson, all this wacky stuff going on. You want to keep it right here. Tobin and Leroy Show, 104.3 WQAM. There is something brewing with Giannis. There is something brewing. So Leroy, here's the latest. We got, some call this a shams bomb. I think this is more of a shams grenade because it doesn't give like a specific team. But on this shams grenade, I guess it's Shams. I mispronounced his name. I'm sorry. I mispronounced the name of my cat. I do apologize. He says 2-time MVP Giannis Antetokounmpo is ready for a new home at the February 5th NBA trade deadline or in the offseason as several rival teams make aggressive offers to the Milwaukee Bucks for him, and the franchise is starting to listen, league sources tell ESPN. So, if you read between the lines, Leroy, shut up for a second.
That's not new.
That's not
Well, I don't know.
You've been hearing that since December.
Here, Donno, and here's the problem with this. When you have a star and you have multiple teams, basically all you're doing is looking at the other team's roster and seeing who you want and what they have. And then I would say to you this. What do the Heat have that others can't give them?
That's what I'm saying.
And so we just immediately make...
What if Giannis uses whatever leverage he has to push for Miami?
Like Dame?
Like
Dame should have done, but Dame was a coward.
No, Dame
isn't a coward.
Dame said I wanted to go with a winner, and they shipped him to Milwaukee, which he couldn't complain about because technically they were winners.
And Donno, Giannis already said which team he would like, or what city he would like to play for already.
Wait, Vlad. It must have been New York, because look at
Well,
Vlad.
they tried to trade him except before the season started. Like, it's known. It's a known fact. And the other thing is, this is what I'm saying. I would put the Knicks and Miami like 5th and 6th in Milwaukee's trade options. Milwaukee could trade with San Antonio, get pieces back. Milwaukee could trade with many other teams. Many other teams can make the trade for Giannis and present a preferable trade package or trade assets than the Miami.
I just think neither of you guys know how to read the smoke signals, right? So
I have been reading the smoke signals.
No. But you got to connect the dots because Marc Stein just said last night that he keeps hearing when he talks to executives that Miami would be the most likely destination for Giannis. Now, several hours later, we get the Shams bomb that Milwaukee is actually interested in offers and Giannis is ready to move on. So, I mean, this is very clearly, I took a lot of math, high-level math classes in college, Leroy and Vlad. I know how to add 2 and 2 together. It equals 5, I think. But in this case, it equals Giannis to Miami.
No, because Giannis also said a month ago, right before the season, I want to stay here, but
now
I
he changes his
my mind.
Right.
And then last week, he said the same exact thing. And then another day later, it was, I'm able, I don't know what my future will be. I take it day by day. The other time, I like being the hottest chick in the game. So it's good because we have nothing to talk about for the next week because nobody really gives a particular
I could talk Darian Mensah all week, man. You give me the
opportunity. I know you can, but nobody's really hyped over the Super Bowl like in previous Super Bowls.
Yeah, I just want the Patriots to lose at all costs. That's all I want.
And over the last couple of years, during the week of the Super Bowl, that's when a big trade in the NBA has happened. So they're trying to push this. Remember, this is the Shams who's been saying big things were going to happen during the summer of 25, and nothing big happened in the summer of 25 in the NBA free agent market. So I'll wait.
I don't know, fellas. I think that this reminds me of, back 15, 16 years ago when people started to talk about the possibility of LeBron and Bosh coming here, and then the Vlads of the world would call me crazy for bringing that up when visionaries like me and Tobin knew that was going to happen. I'm reading the signs, and I'm telling you, this is at the very least, Vlad, like you said, this is going to give us something to talk about for the next 7-8 days? Trade deadline coming up February 5th. We're going to be on Giannis watch until that point.
All right.
And then what happens?
Like you can be on watch.
You'll be watching.
I like here. You ever notice when moves like this are made, it's usually to the teams that have decent rosters to start and they're just kind of upgrading. It's never a team that is playing, right? Because did you see this other report that the Heat may trade Wiggins for Kuminga?
Yeah.
Okay. Now, think about that. That seems more along the lines of what the Heat could do.
Usually, yeah. Well.
You see what I mean? So I don't know. I'm not going to dismiss it, but I am going to go, all right, because like you've already given up a boatload of picks and you have injured players and players that nobody wants. Who's a guy other than Wiggins on this team? Or Kel'el? Who else does everybody want?
I know Simone Fontecchio is very popular.
Right. So there you go. Think about that. Think about the three guys that, I mean, Bam is great for the Heat. But I think now you have to, now you get upset. Here's what happens. Now you get upset when you saw a trade was an option and the Heat have said, we don't want to trade these guys.
Yeah, see that to me, my head would explode. Like oh my God, I would go crazy. Ooh, I would love to watch Tobin on here if the Heat are like, no, you know what? Giannis guy's all right, but we're not willing to give up Tyler Herro. We're not giving up on Tyler. Then that would drive a few folks crazy.
Right. You know what I mean? So if you're thinking about all of the decisions or moves that could have been made, I think unlike previous years with Pat, I mean, some of the biggest trades were made with the guys that nobody thought you'd give up. Right? When you talk about the Glenn Rices and the Karan Butlers and those guys that we get Shaq, we can get this, we can get this. Let's improve our team. Mm-hmm. And recently it's been more along the lines of we want to keep these guys. These guys aren't up for a trade, and now none of them could play.
Yeah. I would say to Tyler Herro, get ready to learn Milwaukee. Well, what do they like up there? Cheese?
He's from there. He knows.
Oh yeah, that's right. He already learned Milwaukee. That's good. Yep. Okay, so perfect. Go back home.
One small problem.
What's that?
He ain't playing basketball.
Well, neither's Giannis right now.
Okay, but Giannis is an MVP.
We'll trade doctors.
Wait,
too.
Giannis is an MVP and a champion.
I mean,
him not playing versus Tyler not playing is two different things on two different levels.
The injuries cancel each other out. They're the same.
No, they do not. No, they are not. No, they are not. So I don't know, and this is not here. You are not in a position right now to say to anybody, if you want a star, what you're not giving up. Everything has to be an option. And if you go into it with that attitude, then you can negotiate. But if you go into it with, you can't get him, you can't get him. What happens is the Bucks just go somewhere else. Let's see who's willing to work with us. That's been the issue for the last 3 moments like this. So if you're going to trade and you're going to do that, then you kind of have to do it the way old Pat did it.
Yeah.
Like, it didn't matter. Like, who didn't like Glenn Rice? Who didn't like Karan Butler? Right? So, yeah. What about, didn't Lamar Odom was here, right? Wasn't Lamar Odom here?
Yeah, he was.
Yeah, Lamar Odom was here.
Traded
for Shaq. Right.
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying?
Shaq trade. Yep.
So think about that.
Yeah, had pieces.
Right. But that's what I'm saying. You have pieces. Listen, you have to ask Milwaukee what they want. And I don't think Miami is in a position right now, if you want Giannis, to say no, no, no. Like, because Pat Riley's never really been that way. Has he? No.
No.
So I think that's the biggest change in the last 2 or 3 years that is different from when Pat Riley was always getting the stars.
And you're not gonna get the one this time. And then if you don't get it, the fan base is gonna be upset because they're so used to Riles and the Heat getting the guys.
Yeah, but I'm gonna tell you why. That's why. If you think about all the trades, getting all those big names, that nobody was untradeable. And he went into it with that. Now, they may have worked and negotiated or whatever, right? But it started off like, hey, we want this guy. Who do you want? Let's work something out. And whoever, Karan, we love you. Odom, we love you. Listen, Glenn, we love you. But we love Shaq. And that's kind of how that went. It's not like the trades have gone recently.
By the way, I did reach out to someone who's pretty close with the team on a media basis, and I'm not going to read the entirety of what they said to me. No comment, but I was told that they have the Heat have been signaling confidence on this situation. So it's not just me saying it.
Yeah, but they signal confidence with Dame. How that worked out?
Fair.
He said,
you got me, bro. You got me.
Wait, Vlad. He said,
and KD.
I've been hearing, oh my God, let's not even talk about the KD.
Saying,
Like, bro, it's been like 8 years of
signaling. But here's the thing: signaling confidence doesn't for sure mean it's going to get done. But signaling confidence does mean they're in the neighborhood of maybe getting this done. And I'm going to choose to be optimistic about being. This is a possibility.
Listen, I'm optimistic too. I think people think that I'm a pessimistic person. I'm just also very real. And all I have to determine if these things can happen is what the Heat have done in previous instances where this was possible, right? And all the times where everybody was available, they got the guy. They didn't have to give up everybody. And all the times where they said he's not tradable, he's off this, he's off that, then the other team has said we'll go somewhere else.
Yeah, I think everybody needs to be
figure it out. You figure out what that means.
And like I said, they have another team's first round pick in the draft.
Yes.
So they can have 2 top 7 picks in the next year's draft, which is supposed to be one of the most loaded drafts in a long time. So if you really think about it, right, Milwaukee could move Giannis, but doesn't have to be next week. They can move him during the offseason.
Yeah, that's
where
true.
They might get where they may be able to maximize all the assets that they can get from another team.
Right. But
this is all very exciting.
I think right now, Vlad, me personally, I think it's always hottest, and you can always get more when you trade them during the season. Right?
Not really. I think you get more during the offseason because people can put future.
I see what you're saying.
Future, you know what I'm saying? Like, think about it. When the Clippers traded for Shea, when the Clippers traded Shea for Paul George and all that, nobody thought that those future draft picks are gonna come back and be anything of significance. And then guess what happens now? Shea, they're a dynasty in the making, and guess who has the Clippers first round pick in 2026? The Thunder.
That's true.
They got Shea and Chet.
They got Shea, Chet, and Jalen Williams all signed, and then they're going to probably get a top 15 pick in next year's draft.
Jeez.
In a loaded
good
draft.
business right there.
Sam Presti was able to work moves, and look what it's done. So that's
so Milwaukee can have Tyler Herro, and they can have a bunch of Heat draft picks. Let's get this done. Let's get it done. You want to keep it right here. We'll continue our Hafley. It's no longer our Tua right here on 104.3 WQAM. Welcome back into the Tobin and Leroy show. Donno, Leroy, Vlad with you. All right, let me give you some of Shams has posted like his actual story on the Giannis situation. And first thought, combing through it, they don't mention like specific teams. So like he doesn't, I was looking for the part where he's like, yeah, Miami is the favorite. No, there's nothing like that in the story. But here's the first part of it. It's a very long story that Shams just published on ESPN. But the first part of it reads, Giannis Antetokounmpo is ready for a new home ahead of the February 5th trade deadline as several teams have made aggressive offers to the Milwaukee Bucks, who are starting to listen, league sources told ESPN. Multiple teams have received a sense that the Bucks are more open than ever to Giannis offers between now and the deadline, league sources said. However, Milwaukee has indicated to interested teams that the organization is not in a rush to complete a move and is willing to navigate Antetokounmpo's future in the offseason if it's believed price point of blue-chip young talent or a surplus of draft picks isn't met, sources said. By waiting until the summer, the Bucks could also see which teams are able to offer more appealing draft picks in June. And finally, sources said Antetokounmpo has informed the Bucks for months that he believes the moment has come to part ways after 12-plus years together, making a trade increasingly possible, they say. So the part about, and it's smart, Leroy, for Milwaukee to say, like, we're not in a rush to make this happen. Like, that's a good move on their part, because if they're not getting big enough offers in the next week, you can run this back in the offseason.
I basically just said that.
Yeah.
You
did, Vlad.
That was the Vlad bomb.
I think that the way this time of season works, people are willing to give up whatever to get Giannis now. Whereas if you wait until the offseason, I think more people will have a better understanding of their situation. And if you wait till the offseason, there'll be more people inquiring about Giannis and what it would take in the offseason. But I think now with people trying to get over the hump, or people I think they would probably give up more now. I think if also, you wait in the summer, more teams would be involved.
More. Yeah, the pressure to give up more now is like, if you got multiple teams involved in this, like you don't want to be outbid if you don't have to be.
Right. And then the other thing is, think about this, and I mean, think about teams like the Hawks. I mean, the Atlanta Hawks. They I don't know how they're gonna have something. Didn't they give up a boatload of picks? Oh no, they just got a boatload of picks for
Trey.
Yeah,
for Trey.
Right. But then they give up who they give up last year?
Dejounte
Murray.
Right.
So they got Dejounte Murray picks and they got Trey picks.
They got a lot to offer Milwaukee. Look, if you're Milwaukee, you just got to understand it's time. It was a great run.
It is.
You got one title out of it.
You got high draft picks. You're going to get more draft picks. It's time to rebuild.
But it's time to rebuild. And this draft upcoming, you can find a couple of players that you can start building. Especially if you have two of the first top 7, you really have a good nucleus. And then you add. Listen, that's what I think. If you see Miles Turner move, I think the Heat are in. Yes. I really think the Heat are in.
Because Kel'el Ware.
Yeah.
Yes. Then if I see Miles Turner move, then I'm like, all right, the Heat got a shot, because then you can do the hometown kid and Kel'el along with the 2 picks you have in next year's draft. Boom! I got a young nucleus with an all-star, a hometown all-star. I can make some moves in the Central. Our reclamation project won't take as long as normal teams do,
because you're already adding some young talent.
Adding young talent,
right?
Like that would be legit. But that's open that they get a lot on that Miles Turner trade, because then you don't have to give so much then. But if that doesn't happen, I don't know.
So you
that's
think
something
the
we're going to be
biggest,
watching
the
before
biggest,
February 5th.
he thinking just pay attention. If Miles Turner get traded, then you know the Heat are in.
Mm-hmm.
That means Kel'el's gone.
Mm-hmm. I hate to see him go, but if it brings back Giannis, giddy up.
Oh man, you know what the problem is that this happens in basketball a lot. You look at where people are now and don't understand the development portion of it. Like everybody, in most cases, most guys don't hit their prime till 26, 27 anyway.
Mm-hmm. Well, they can do it in
And
Milwaukee.
so you're sitting here talking about we'll give up a 24-year-old, or how old is Kel'el? 23?
Yeah, probably 23, something like that.
We'll give up a 23-year-old, and I'm afraid of what he gonna look like when he's 26.
The thing is, but like the best case scenario is he turns out to be like almost as good as Giannis. Like if you can get Giannis, why would I wait and bank on Kel'el Ware, becoming that good when it's
Because
not
he ain't got no
guaranteed to
scar
happen?
tissue. I mean, literally scar tissue. Like Giannis been getting banged up lately. And keep in mind, one of the things that has plagued this team, and I don't know how much I'm willing to guess this is going to help a lot if you had Giannis on your roster.
Mm-hmm.
But if what you need is shooting, what does Giannis do for that?
Heat do need shooting. They do, but maybe maybe you can just not need shooting if you have Giannis. You can.
I don't know. When they won the championship, they won the championship shooting threes.
They did. They did. By the way, Kel'el Ware is 21, so Leroy's not even close to hitting his prime.
Wait a minute, he's only 21. Oh yeah,
He's not even close to hitting that prime.
Oh,
like, I can't wait another 5 years.
Year? Wait, what is this? His third year?
I think the second. Is it the second year? I think it's his second year. Rookie year last year.
See what I mean, Vlad? We do this with a lot of players. I mean, look, think about the Clippers doing it and sending SGA to OKC. Like we like where have we gotten to in the world? And look,
I remember a lot of people. Hold on. But I remember when the Heat pulled off the Shaq trade. I listened to a lot of talk radio. I wasn't on it back in those days, but boy, did I listen to it. And I kept hearing people like, oh, we made a huge mistake dealing Caron Butler away. Like this is going to come back to bite us. I can't believe they traded Caron Butler, who had 2 years in the league at that point. So this sometimes works out the other way, Leroy. Like sometimes you have the SGA story, but usually you have the story of you kind of forget about the young player you dealt away when you get a Giannis Antetokounmpo in return.
Yeah, and I'm not, but I'm from the overall basketball point that now we have. So Jordan didn't win his first championship. So he was 26, 27. 27.
Yeah.
Right?
Same thing as LeBron.
And same thing with LeBron. But that's considered the prime. And we're taking these young players and shipping them out for guys that are around 30 that are already supposedly in their prime. And I'm just thinking to myself, at some point, you're going to have to pull an OKC. Like OKC right now sitting back and saying, we ain't got to do nothing. We ain't got to do nothing. We got all our guys are signed and everybody damn near the same age.
As a matter of fact, as we go to break, if OKC really wants to mess up everything, they can offer the best package to Milwaukee. And Milwaukee,
Don't give many ideas, Vlad.
I'm just saying.
Wow.
I'm just saying. As we go to break,
we'll continue to talk about the possibility of Giannis to Miami, and also, man, I want to get back into this Bill Belichick thing. Jimmy Johnson is caping up for Belichick, and I think what he says makes a lot of sense. You want to keep it right here. Brand new episode of Tobin and Leroy, 104.3 WQAM. 12 o'clock hour of the Tobin and Leroy show. Donno in for Tobin today. We got Leroy. We got Vlad. We've got Giannis Antetokounmpo, rumors and speculation going on. Here's a couple things from Barry Jackson from the Miami Herald, who does say Heat will pursue, but that's nothing new. Like, we know, obviously, the Heat will pursue Giannis. It's whether or not they land him is the question. But he writes, does Barry, he says, remember, if the Heat can deal anyone not needed in a Giannis package, like maybe Wiggins, for a 2027 first-rounder, Miami instantly would go from having only 2 tradable first-round picks in 2030 and 2032 to having 4 tradable firsts, 26, 28, 30, and 32. If Miami removes protections on Charlotte pick, which the Hornets shouldn't object to, it's the conditional aspects of the first-round pick due Charlotte in there to protect the Heat that limit Miami to 2 tradable firsts at the moment. So if you're telling me there's a chance to get to 4 tradable first-round picks, that would give the Heat a lot more ammo to get a deal like this done. I think you're muted, Leroy.
No, you got it. There we go.
There we go.
It wasn't me. True. They do. I think, and here's the cool thing about this. I wouldn't be surprised if it were to happen. If they do the 4 picks package Terry Rozier.
Oh yeah, get his bum ass out of here.
Well, it actually helps Milwaukee.
Yeah.
Because now they got an expiring contract. So you could look at it from that standpoint, because I don't think, other than Kel'el Ware, so if I go 4 first-round picks, Kel'el Ware, and Terry Rozier for Giannis, I mean, that makes some sense. I would say, isn't with the Heat, you can get money and the 4 picks because Terry Rozier's contract is expiring.
Mm-hmm.
You see what I mean? With other teams, then you maybe, he said salaries don't match. Then you probably have to throw in a Fontecchio or somebody like that.
We finally have an Italian player. They're going to throw him in the garbage. I hate that.
For a Greek.
So
yeah, I don't like that.
From that standpoint, you can make it work. And that's a very simple thing. To be honest with you, I don't know if I want to give up Kel'el. I just think,
I think that's the cost of doing business.
I think it's the cost of doing business, but like, I think Kel'el's a unique talent that the way the Heat have kind of managed it, people lose track of that.
Leroy, you know what? You're right? I believe you're right. But when you love someone, when you like a player, you do everything in your damn power.
Yeah, I mean, I know they're gonna have to give him up, right? But I would say 5 years from now, we're gonna look back and go, holy smokes. And I just believe that. He's 21 years old. Like, you treating him like he's been in the league for 5 years the way you benching him and whatever. He's 21.
But you got to understand, Ross don't got much.
No, I know. Listen.
Well, I feel like I'm running out of time, too. It's been a long time since 2013 when we last won a title. I'm waiting here.
You're Vlad. You're right, and you're right. Okay? I tend to hang on to players that I really like. I think he's going to be really good. However, all bets are off when it comes to getting Giannis.
Yeah,
I'm also acknowledging that.
Yeah.
I just think 5 years from now, we're going to look back and go, damn.
But if you have 2 titles and Giannis at that time,
That's the
you-
thing.
Oh no,
Yeah,
Oh,
yeah.
I'm like Giannis.
No
who?
regrets then.
We
Yeah.
did the same thing when they traded all them guys for Shaq. We did the same
Yep.
thing. So I'm not. Look, I'm a phony. I'm gonna say it. I'm gonna be on the. I'm gonna be on the. This is exactly what I wanted. I wanted Giannis to win the championship. Yeah, I'm a lie.
Fraud.
Yes, absolutely. We all gonna do that. We all
At
gonna
least you
forget about
admit it.
these conversations. But it still doesn't. I think if you want to trade somebody, you got to treat them like they're a tradable asset. There's nobody on this team other than Bam and Wiggins, and maybe Norman Powell, right? That they have treated as trade pieces. Like they've treated like, look at him ball out. Look at what he can do, right? You trading Kel'el and basically saying he does some good things, but he still needs some development.
Yeah. And
That's
kind
what
of in
you're
the
saying
doghouse,
about your
yeah.
own player.
Yeah. Well, I mean, they clearly don't seem to respect Kel'el as much as you do within the organization. So I don't know. If you could use him as a trade piece, you do. And again, like you hit the nail on the head when you talked about you and Vlad, that if you make this move and you get even one championship out of it, right? I would take 2. Like Vlad brought up maybe 2 titles. I would take 2 titles. Even if you get one championship out of it, 5 years down the road, I would have no regrets, even if you gave up a lot of young talent to win a title. Because I don't, without making a move like this, I can't in good conscience tell you I think this team is going to win a championship at the current course if they don't make a deal for a player like Giannis. Right. So
They're not. They have too many lapses in scoring to where nobody can fix it. And it's been this way for a few years now. And I think Giannis is somebody who can fix that. Giannis is somebody who you throw the ball to and say, we need buckets, right? We thought that was Jimmy, but I don't know what Jimmy was. Sometimes Jimmy didn't want to do that, right?
Yeah, it's true.
But Giannis has never shown ever, and this is, it's not that he may have had dud quarters, right? But it ain't for lack of being that dude.
Right.
Yeah, and I think that's the thing. When you put Giannis on your roster, when it's go time, Giannis gonna go. You ain't gotta look on the court and say, "Hey guys, somebody need to take over," right?
No, you don't
because
have to do that.
As successful as Jimmy was when he wanted to be, there were far too many times where this team went through a scoring rut, and we look at Jimmy to get us out of it, and nothing.
Yep.
I mean, we look at Tyler. They say Tyler's a bona fide scorer. Is he? He ain't a bona fide scorer when he getting crisscross applesauce on the other side, pick and roll, pick and roll, pick and roll, pick and roll, mouse in the house, right? That's who he is. Hey,
wait, say that again. No, I need to hear that again.
Yeah, I need to hear that one more time.
That was bars. That was crisscross applesauce. Is that what I heard?
Yeah, they crisscross. They keep pick and roll, pick and roll, pick and roll, pick and roll. Got a mouse in the house.
No, you got to understand the visual of crisscross applesauce, okay? Because we all know what applesauce looks like.
It looks like Tyler covering.
It looks
like Tyler guarding.
slow. It's slow. It just looks like, you know what I mean? Like it just doesn't look.
It's like sludge.
Doesn't look edible. Doesn't look like it can move.
Right.
So when you say crisscross applesauce, oh man.
Wait.
That might be
the
name of the hour.
Hey Vlad, this one it's bad. You know it's bad when another guy on another team who plays zero defense.
Oh, when one bad defender says you're worse defender than I am.
Yeah.
When they played the Cavs,
proves it, and then he proved it. Damn.
Yeah, like come on, like it's crazy. So and here's the thing, and this is the honest truth. If you're not gonna play defense, I need 30 from you every night.
Mm-hmm.
Those are the guys that don't play defense.
Yeah, not every third night. You need it every game.
20 and 5, you better be playing some D.
Yeah.
23, 24, you might have to play some D. 30, like we need your 30.
35, I can let you can
right.
Yeah. The other person could score 20, 25.
Right. So them 6 or 7 guys that are 27 plus, 26 plus, them guys get the defensive pass. And we all know who they are. Don't act like you don't know.
Sometimes.
Yeah.
Luka Braun and Jalen Brunson, they're getting criticized.
Right.
Yeah, they are.
Right. Well, Brunson, you don't care if Brunson don't play no D.
I mean, he's got to carry the offense.
Right. That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. Okay.
I'm not expecting a 41-year-old.
If the Heat had a guy that was scoring like that, then I don't care about what he's doing on the defensive end. But 20 and 5 is you need to play some defense. You do. Right? You need a complete game. So
let's get into some headlines here. Brought to you by Doral Kia. You always pay less with your pricito at Doral Kia. Visit us at Doral Kia or at doralkia.com. And what we're talking about today, and the entire NBA world is talking about, this report from Shams Charania this morning. 2-time MVP Giannis Antetokounmpo is ready for a new home ahead of the February 5th trade deadline. Several teams have made aggressive offers to Milwaukee, who are starting to listen, league sources told ESPN on Wednesday. Meanwhile, in the NBA, the Miami Heat are in action tonight, home from their road trip hosting the Orlando Magic at 7:30 p.m. You can hear it here on 104.3 WQAM. Miami Hurricanes hoops team is also in action, playing against Stanford at home, but they're doing it in the Stanford time zone. They're playing at 9 p.m. tonight. What is that going to be on 560, Vlad? Where can people hear that?
Yes, so it'll be on 560 WQAM.
Oh, give us a rundown. Heat is on 104.3.
Heat is on 104.3 FM, and the Miami Hurricanes basketball team versus Stanford will be on 560 WQAM. Also, I have a question for you, Mr. Donald.
Sure.
How do you like starting the season out in the West Coast, the football season in the West Coast this year?
Yeah, I'm glad you asked that. So, all right. So the things that I don't like about the schedule, even though weeknight games are kind of convenient for me, because then that opens up my Saturday to watch everything else, right?
Sure.
But
your football.
Yeah, I'm being a little selfish here because, okay, so Miami's got 3 Friday night games on their schedule and a Thursday night game on the schedule. I know, and a couple of those are on the road, so I guess it's a wash. But Mario Cristobal hates when you host the weeknight game because it makes it harder to get recruits in your building, especially when it's on a Friday night because that's high school football night. So it makes it harder to bring in recruiting visitors. But to your question about opening on the West Coast, I know a lot of people are saying, hey, that's kind of disrespectful. The national runners-up, the ACC's making them go out to Stanford for the first game. But let me say this, and Leroy, you can probably back me up on this one. When you're going to have your longest road trip of the season, I say get it out of the way week 1. And playing against a team like Stanford, week 1, it can't be a trap game, right? If that was like week 7 or 8, you go out to Stanford, like maybe you're looking, hey, we got Florida State next week or Clemson next week, could be a trap game. Week 1 is not a trap game, and you get to go out there to California, Northern California, at the time when your team is healthiest, nobody's banged up, right? So I actually think playing Stanford the first week, it's a low-key good thing for Miami. You get your longest road trip out of the way right away.
When I played, I look for the West Coast games. We had to go to West Coast. We had back-to-back West Coast games where we stayed out west. That sucked. Here's what we were looking for.
Yeah.
When I was in Cleveland and I was in Minnesota. Not Minnesota as much. I wanted my West Coast game when I was in Cleveland to be in November and December. Why? Because I ain't want to play outside in November and December. That being said, the tricky thing about playing in San Fran or in Stanford, you get all the weather conditions all year round. So it's no guarantee you're going to have that nice California weather, because I played in I played in Oakland one year, and it literally went through all of the seasons in a half of football. It was sunny and 75, then cold, then rainy, then come back the second half, it looked like sleet. Then it was muddy and cold. I'm like, holy smokes.
Oh, that's gonna be holy smokes as well.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah.
In California. Yeah, that's gonna be holy smokes as well.
Yeah.
It is Labor Day weekend, so maybe there'll be more fans traveling. Maybe not.
I mean, I know a lot of people who are making the trip. I don't think I'm going out for that one. I'm planning on going to the Notre Dame game because there's going to be some events out there that I want to go to. I don't think I'm going to Palo Alto, but I know a good amount of people who are already making their plans to travel out there. So hopefully Miami will be in the building.
My son lives like 15 minutes from there.
Oh, you going?
Nice.
Go out there, Leroy. I'm going out there.
He's going.
I'm flying out. I'm going to say hi to my peoples in Cali. So
okay.
Let's go.
Perfect time. Yeah, I'm trying
Leroy,
to.
can you give me some? Can you give me some weather? We haven't had a weather report yet.
Because we don't have it.
What's happening out there? Oh, we don't have weather reports anymore.
No.
Oh,
yeah, but that's not
that's kind of sad.
But I'm gonna tell you what. Hey, right now it's getting chilly and it's getting downright cold.
Yeah.
I slept in a sweatsuit last night.
We turned the heat on.
Because for some reason, I say I'm gonna turn on the heater. No.
Who's that? The French?
Yeah.
They think they think they got
I don't know.
Canadian powers, so that the cold won't do anything to them.
I don't know.
The Canadians are not affected by the cold. They're impervious.
Like I almost went outside and cuddled with a Black Panther or something because he got hair. I don't care. Chew me up. It was freezing.
Yeah, it's worth it.
You mean Leroy wasn't giving us a weather report out of the goodness of his heart? Yeah, I can give it to you. It's windy and cold and cloudy.
That's
overcast.
You want more elaborate analysis? money.
Hey, so Jim Schwartz is leaving.
Well, I would too. I didn't get the head coaching job.
Leaving Cleveland. He's here. I'm gonna say this, and I'm gonna say this, and everybody's gonna know what I'm saying. That we can't judge a head coach by his first experience because there's a lot of things that he has to learn, right? And some pick it up quickly, some don't pick it up till their second try. That being said, defensive coaches are very abrasive to start off with. Most of the defensive coaches are the ones that are the hard asses, the ones that pay more attention to be more accountable, because you have to understand on the defensive side of the ball, more importantly than the offense, that guy needs to be exactly where he's supposed to be. Otherwise, you get gashed or you give up a big play. So coaches pay attention to that. They're very attentive to that. They push that. They force that, right? Offensively is let's trick the defense. Let's highbrow it. Let's smoke one of them skinny cigars. It's just a different vibe from an offensive coach. If you look at an offensive coach, how he is on the sideline versus an intense either offensive line coach or a defensive coach, they're usually very intense because of what was required of them coaching the defense. Keep in mind, defense is all about energy, about emotion, right? You got to be fired up to go out there and stick yourself in harm's way like that. So I understand why Jim Schwartz is the way he is. I understand why Fangs is the way he is.
That's right.
However, it doesn't always translate to being able to lead both sides of the ball. And so when you see defensive-minded coaches that end up being head coaches, they're kind of mellow, right?
Yeah.
They're talkers, but they're kind of mellow.
You need to be more of a diplomat, which a lot of these defensive guys are not.
Defensive guys aren't, because they don't have to be. They don't care.
Nope.
It's all about energy. It's all about emotion.
Yeah.
It's all about putting yourself in harm's way. It's all about being where you're supposed to be. Those are the things that have to be forced and enforced every single day. So there's always yelling. There's always intense. Nick Saban.
Well, hold on. Speaking of yelling, I'm getting yelled at by J Fig right now. She is going to punch me through the screen if we do not go to break. So we'll talk more about coaching when we come back, including Jimmy Johnson sticking up for Bill Belichick. You want to keep it right here. Tobin and Leroy Show, 104.3 WQAM. Welcome back into the Tobin and Leroy Show, 104.3 WQAM. We'll continue throughout this episode to talk about Giannis Antetokounmpo rumors. Now that Milwaukee is open to trading him, Giannis is open to being dealt. There's some momentum. Something could happen even before the February 5th trade deadline. Also, we've been talking about Bill Belichick. They're taking the moral high ground, the voters for the Hall of Fame. And allegedly, it was Bill Polian who led the charge for them to take the moral high ground, although he now denies doing that. But Belichick did not receive the minimum 40 of 50 votes he needed to be a first-ballot Hall of Famer. They want to punish him for Spygate, punish him for Deflategate, despite his 6 rings and being one of the winningest head coaches of all time. But how about this one, Leroy? Jimmy Johnson has stood up for Belichick, saying, "This is just wrong. Number 2 winning all time. More Super Bowls than anyone. It's unimaginable. The number of division championships. A lot of small, jealous voters," Jimmy Johnson tweeted. And then he also wrote, "I would like to know the names of the a-holes who did not vote for him. They are too cowardly to identify themselves." And to his point, Leroy, not one of those, more than 10 individuals who voted against Belichick, not one of them, to my knowledge, has shown their face and admitted that they voted against Belichick.
Of course,
So Jimmy's right.
what was hilarious about that? Those are the people that hold the mics and point them at the athletes, wanting them to be accountable.
Yeah. That's
right. See, and that's why I call it cowardice, right? If you want to talk about morality, you have guys who may tell you something in confidence and you spill the beans, or it gets out, or it leaks out, or you want guys to be accountable for what they've done, both on and off the field. And then you get to hide behind your decision.
Yeah.
I just think, look, it doesn't matter whether you like Bill Belichick or not. That it's not their job. It's not the Hall of Like. It's the Hall of Fame. And because you don't have a personal relationship with a person, or you deem him to be sour puss or whatever, because you deem him that means that what he's accomplished on the field is not good enough for you. Whoever didn't vote for him, their vote should be taken. You don't get a vote because we can't trust you to make the right decisions on who should be in our Hall of Fame.
I'll go one further. If the process was more transparent and we knew who voted for who, maybe these people wouldn't have done that in the first place.
Correct. Cowards. When you can hide behind and not have to be accountable for your vote or your actions, that's what a coward is.
Yeah.
That's when the guy selling all them tickets about fighting, Vlad, and then he want his boy to hold him back so he can't fight.
Oh, wolf ticket.
Yeah.
Wolf ticket.
Sell them wolf tickets. Hey, my boys will say, "No, you go out there and get your ass kicked.
Nah,
you ain't gonna put us in this."
You gotta shoot a fair one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's it. If whoever the 37 or 38 people that voted for him, the 11 or 12 that didn't, the 38 need to call him out.
Mm-hmm.
Bill Polian needs to get called out. That's it.
He did, and then he denied it. He's like, I don't remember. They asked him, "Did you vote for Belichick or no?" "I don't remember." Like, how do you forget something like that? Seems like a pretty memorable decision.
When somebody right before you said he convinced people not to vote for him.
Yeah.
You'll forget the minute that you realize, oh snap, somebody said that I'm the reason why. So I gotta throw any doubt or any chance that I was the one that had a big say in for him not getting to the Hall of Fame in his first ballot. And this is what I hate. I hate when they do that to individuals, because you don't know when this individual, nobody's promised tomorrow.
Right.
Nobody promised tomorrow. So God forbid something happens to this man. What are you going to say? Oh, well, he deserved to be in the Hall of Fame. Well, he should have been in the Hall of Fame right now.
Vlad, I have a bigger issue with the whole thing is as I've always said, how you not a Hall of Famer yesterday, but you a Hall of Famer tomorrow?
Right.
When nothing
Right.
has changed.
Yes.
So the
Like
whole
they
thing
admit
about
he's a Hall of Famer, just not yet because we don't like
right.
him.
He can't coach no more games.
Like they try. It's the same way someone mentioned in the chat and the Twitch. They did that with T.O. Like take your personal feelings aside. Like, no, here's what I hate about these voters. You know what I hate about these voters? It's not like you could go. It's not like you going around, right, and say, "Oh, hey, I'm Bill Polian. I'm a Hall of Fame. I'm a Hall of Fame voter." That gets you no props. Like, stop being a gatekeeper. These guys really take this gatekeeping on. Oh, get the hell out of here. Nobody cares about you, man.
Again, it diminishes your Hall of Fame when you go to tell the history of the NFL and tell stories to the young people, and you mention certain names and they're not in the Hall of Fame. Like, as kids, I remember, used to get the books with all the records in sports and stuff like that. And you was like, who has the record for this? Who has the record for that? So in baseball, who has the record for hits? Who has the record for home runs? Guess what? Not in the Hall of Fame. You're going to have a hard enough time explaining that to the future than explaining, anything else. And so, like, here's what drives me crazy about Bill Belichick and Tom Brady had a run of 10 years where they were literally untouchable.
And then they had a run where they couldn't win.
Right. And so I'm going to say, like, that 10-year stretch of football, whether you liked it or not, was some of the most dominant football we've seen in the history of the game.
And they were beating your team's ass, Mr. Polian. You know what I would do, right? You know I'm mean like that. This is Aquarius in me. God forbid he has to go to a home. If he went to a home, if I was Belichick and the people, I would make sure that there's a screen, and I would replay all the times the Patriots beat the Colts. Over and over on him while he's getting his meds.
Right.
Over and over, just all the time.
That's beyond petty, Vlad. I mean,
no.
You know what?
The man in hell is what you're doing.
One of the reasons why I ain't mad at it is because they don't learn. They still think, here, there's nothing worse than a person that think they matter when they don't. That you want to get to the bottom of it. That's the issue. People trying to matter and they don't. People trying to act like they have an impact and they don't. So what they do, they make themselves have an impact by doing something like this. That's it.
Bingo.
That's it. It's like, I have the power to keep Bill Belichick out of the Hall of Fame. That's all that's about. Whether you like him, whether you like Bill Belichick or not, has nothing to do with his accomplishments. I know a bunch of Hall of Famers that I wanted to punch in the face when I played against them. That's life. You ain't gonna like everybody. You ain't gotta like everybody. But that don't mean their accomplishments ain't their accomplishments. So yeah, it's unfortunate. It sucks. I've never had a problem with Bill Belichick, and he was probably harder on me than most. And I would say this. It was the best football I ever played because I spent half of it mad at my damn coach. And that's okay. Because the end result was I played some of the best football I ever played. So if that's not what you're shooting for, because you can't get along with your coach, that's a you problem. So, like, stop. Everybody, you defend Billy. No, I'm really not. I defended T.O. and I'm not a fan of his. Mm-hmm. Right? Like, the man played in the Super Bowl with a broken ankle and a screw in his ankle. That in itself warrants Hall of Fame.
For sure.
So we need to stop. We need to stop this. We do this with everything.
Well, we're going to wrap up the 12 o'clock hour when we come back. Donno in for Tobin today. We got Leroy. We got Vlad. We got your hot takes on 104.3 WQAM. Welcome back into the Tobin Leroy Show here on 104.3 WQAM. So in the 1 o'clock hour, I want to circle back to what the Miami Hurricanes are doing for their football program off the field. They added Darian Mensah, standout quarterback from Duke, and his top receiver, Cooper Barkate, and former Florida State defensive back Conrad Hussey yesterday. But Leroy, we also have the wild NBA rumor mill cranking right now with Giannis Antetokounmpo stuff.
Oh, I got something for you.
You got something?
No. This is
What?
well,
What did you just do there?
How you gonna excite us and then tell us no?
No.
See the way I perked up?
This is to me and for what me and Vlad were talking about. All right. I have the odds.
Oh, you have the odds
for the
team.
next team.
Okay, that's something.
Of Giannis. Who do you think the number one team is?
The Knicks.
No.
The Heat.
No.
No?
The Houston Rockets.
The Houston Rockets.
Yes, I did hear that.
2-1. The New York Knicks are second at 3-1, followed by the Atlanta Hawks 4-1, San Antonio 6-1. Guess what the Heat are?
12-1.
12-1.
Oh, right. That seems like an easy way to make $1,200 if I put 100 on that today.
I'm just some of the things that we talked about earlier, the same thing these odds makers are looking at.
Yeah.
Now, Houston was one team that I did hear. They can offer.
They got a boatload of picks, though.
Right, they can offer Timu Jokic. They can offer, dollar store Jokic. So, in Sangoon. So
Sangoon, he's a bowler.
That's what I'm saying.
You want to talk about Sangoon?
He's Timu Joker. That's what I'm saying. They can get him, and then they can get Tony Eason or Jabari Smith, and they got draft picks. Like they got some young Thundercats that you can offer, and you don't have to face Giannis more than twice a year. That's the other thing. You don't want to trade him within conference, and then you got to deal with him 3 or 4 times, and then in the postseason, you don't want that. Just saying.
So that's the reality of the Heat situation. However you want to look at it, people that put their money on it say there's a few teams, and let's be clear. One of the things that's crazy about a
lot of people put their money on Mike Tyson against Buster Douglas. Saw how that worked out.
Well, if I knew he was messing around with 20 Japanese women and doing blow the night before, maybe I wouldn't be doing it. Maybe I wouldn't have put money.
He went into that fight like the Great White Hype.
Oh man, yes, like Dana Wayne's.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Eating ice cream and cookies. Yeah, we know what that looked like. Hey,
and he did win the fight, by the way. People know he did win the fight. He did knock him down.
After dude punched him in the face, he was like,
"Yeah, that's true."
What?
Hey. Still, I can't remember the exact odds on Buster, but I know it was bigger than 12-1.
Oh,
it was more than that.
12-1.
Way more than that.
You got a shot.
Here's something NBA reporter Ian Begley from New York posted. He says, yes, Knicks will be among teams making aggressive offers to Milwaukee for Giannis. Miami Heat will be there as well. So he mentioned those two teams making aggressive. I think a lot of people are putting their money on Houston just on a hunch. I'm putting my money on Miami based on significant internal confidence within the organization is what I'm told.
Donno?
Yeah.
When have the Miami Heat shown you confidence over the last, I don't know. Let's just say 3 years.
I choose to zoom out. I will zoom out 30 years. is when I choose to zoom out for my confidence. Right? A lot of people didn't think Alonzo Mourning was going to get dealt here. Tim Hardaway. People doubted Miami could pull off a Shaquille O'Neal trade. LeBron James, Chris Bosh. I zoom out.
10. You're talking about 10.
And it was different. The LeBron thing was different. And the Bosh thing was different because they all came together and took less money.
And they were in cahoots.
Right. They were in cahoots. Well, maybe Giannis and Spo may be in cahoots for all we know.
Well, you better hope Bam, the agent, and Giannis, because they both share the same agent.
There you go. There's your cahoots right there.
But guess what? It might not happen. There's a greater chance it's not happening. And this is what I'm going to be upset. Don't be upset at the front office for not getting the player. If they weren't attempting that, then you have every right to be upset. But don't be upset if Milwaukee decides to go another route. The same
Right.
way.
Okay,
Portland
but I can't sign off on that as a blanket condition for this
Well,
reason.
here's why he's saying that.
Yeah,
Because
okay.
you do realize the offers that they made for Dame, they were under the impression that Dame could only come here.
Mm-hmm.
And so they didn't necessarily go after Dame like they're going to go after Giannis when there's no clear-cut place where Giannis said
and
he
also
would go.
they were dealing with Joe Cronin, who had an agenda and didn't want to make the move to Miami. Like
So
you're
you
not
have
dealing
so
with
you'll be dealing with Milwaukee's GM, who's got a dilemma who's got to face that he doesn't want to be Bob Myers, but he's gonna have to be. He's gonna have to
I'll
make
take
the
a
decision.
dilemma over a vendetta because Cronin had a vendetta. I'll take my chances with a dilemma.
Okay, but the dilemma is I'm trading what possibly could be either the best player in my franchise history or top three. Let's just say top three. I'm not going to disrespect Oscar and Lou Alcindor. So let's just say one of the three top players in my franchise history. A guy who's been with us since we drafted him all the way out of Greece. You're going to tell that fan base, you're going to have to show that fan base that you're making this trade and you're getting something back. Something that is
correct,
watchable.
You can't do the Luka thing.
Presentable. Yeah, you can't do a Luka thing. Like, unfortunately for whoever goes there, like say it's the Knicks, right? And it's Karl Anthony Towns. That fan base is not gonna love Karl Anthony Towns going there. They're not gonna be. They might not feel Sangoon and Jabari Smith and the draft picks they may like, but they're not gonna like the immediate players that go to Milwaukee after losing Giannis. So you gotta deal with that. You gotta deal with, oh no, this is a draw. I might not have I might not have fans coming to the Fiserv Forum anymore because there's no Giannis to watch. You got to think about that. So it's gonna be very interesting.
I mean, look, can I offer you a hometown hero, literally a hometown hero with 2 R's, coming back to the city where he grew up, was born and raised? That's going to put some butts in the seats there in Milwaukee. All right, we got the 1 o'clock hour coming up. Donno in for Tobin, Leroy, Vlad. Meanwhile, the Miami Hurricanes have their starting quarterback. I mean, if Pat Riley may not be able to make every move, Mario Cristobal is making them all. We got Darian Mensah in the 305. You want to keep it right here. 1 o'clock hour coming up at the Tobin and Leroy Show. Welcome back into the Tobin and Leroy show. Donno in for Tobin. We got Leroy. We got Vlad. I know Jay Fig was having some technical issues, but hopefully she'll be able to hop in at some point. We'll continue later this hour to talk about the Giannis Antetokounmpo rumors. The Miami Heat are believed to be one of probably many teams that are going to make aggressive trade offers for Giannis before the February 5th trade deadline. Meanwhile, Leroy, I know the Heat are trying to make some moves for the third straight year. Mario Cristobal and the Miami Hurricanes managed to go out and get one of the top transfer portal quarterbacks available. 2024, it was Cam Ward, who went on to be the number 1 overall draft pick, a Heisman finalist, and had the defense been able to stop a nosebleed, they could have made a college football playoff run, but they missed out because of the D. 2025, you bring in Carson Beck, little less flashy than Cam Ward, but helps you get all the way to the national championship game. And then 2026, Mario Cristobal manages to pull a rabbit out of the hat right before the transfer portal deadline. You start to see Darian Mensah at Duke might be on the move. He requests to enter the portal. It was very controversial because he had signed his marketing rights to Duke for 2 years. Duke sued him. They ultimately settled outside of court yesterday morning, and then by yesterday evening, Darian Mensah is a Miami Hurricane. And Leroy, I think there is potential for Mensah to have, maybe a Cam Ward type of impact here. Tremendous at attacking down the field. He can improvise and make throws on the run. And he's got a ton. He probably has more weapons this year coming up than Cam Ward had in 2024. It's another great point by you. The offensive line is a little young at certain spots, but they should be very good, talented players. But Mensah, I think, has all the tools to succeed, and he's going to have a better defense than Cam Ward had here 2 years ago.
Any defense would be better.
Yeah, right. Any defense would have been better.
Right. I'm just curious to see what the O-line is going to look like, because you're replacing very talented guys. But I will say this. A team that runs the football has less to do about talent and more to do about attitude.
That's right.
And so that's why a lot of teams that throw the ball a lot in college can't run the football.
Yeah.
It's about the mentality that you have to go about running the football. So I'm not just going to dismiss it to say they can't do it because they lost 2 good offensive linemen. I'm going to just say that is going to be the question that I have going into next year.
Yeah.
Simply because it's an unknown. You think, look, not for nothing. How much do you think a 5-star dominates in high school?
Oh, I mean,
at offensive line,
they make men look like boys. Is how much.
Keep in mind, one of the biggest aspects of that is they're probably 30, 40 pounds bigger than anybody they block.
Yeah, they throw when Samson Okunlola, former 5-star, who's still on Miami's offensive line, I think he's going to be a starter, probably left guard this coming year. When he was in high school, he was playing at an academy in Massachusetts, which is not like a top high school football state. He was throwing dudes around like rag dolls, right? And when he got to Miami, it took some time and development. Eventually,
that's where I'm getting
his play eventually reached his potential, but it was as fast Francis Malinois, who's off to the NFL. He played at IMG Academy, which is national powerhouse boarding school. So he was a little more college ready when he got here than Okunlola was.
I just think it's part of one of the hardest, the biggest thing about the transition from high school to college to the NFL, right? One of the things that you're absolutely shocked at is when you look across the line of scrimmage or you're a wide receiver and you're getting covered and you go, damn, that dude's as quick and as fast as me. My technique better be on point, or I'm going to have to be more physical or tougher, or, I'm not going to just run scot-free down the field. Hell, when I was in high school, I averaged 11 yards a carry.
Oh,
right?
You.
And then when I got to, I think I averaged 6 yards to carry at Michigan, but
that ain't bad. That's
right?
nothing to be embarrassed about.
Get to the NFL, and like, yeah, it's just not like that. You know what I mean? You have to be more of a tactician. You have to learn your craft. You have to learn the little things of what makes you special. You know, whether it's reading blocks, whether it's running through tackles, that's one of the problems that I have with not being able to knock somebody out, run across the middle of the field. That's what separates you from others who play your position. And the more things you can have that you can do that separate you, the better that makes you. So I just I get it. Everybody talks about 5-star and this and that, but when you move to the NFL, they say you playing with other NFL players. The worst NFL player might be the best player you ever played against when you leave college. I'm gonna say the same thing about, when a guy comes to Miami. Like, you're gonna be playing across some guys that just played in the national championship game. Did you win a state championship? Like, that's gonna be the best talent you faced. The best in your state. These guys just face the best in the country. So there's a level that you have to be prepared to move up. And so I always wonder, because I've seen certain guys, right? And I'll give you a perfect example. Our athletic director, Ward Manuel. I've known him since we were 7 years old.
Oh, wow.
We played in all-star games together. We played baseball together, youth baseball together, and we played against each other in high school. He was the Nike he was the Gatorade Player of the Year on defense. Never played at Michigan.
Wow.
So when I tell you, let's not just make the assumption that the transition is going to be smooth.
Sure.
It's easy to be the big man on campus when you actually literally the biggest man on campus.
Yeah.
But then you take that step up and you look across from you and them guys big too. So we'll see. I'm not, discrediting them. I'm not saying they can't play, but it's still
they got to prove it.
We all need to see.
Yeah. They got to prove, and for someone like Jackson Cantwell, who might have a chance, probably will have a chance to start in his first year. I love the fact that, with him being able to enroll early in early December,
get some work in.
He got all those extra practices. So he was allowed, he and the other early enrollees
to go to training, to go to camp.
Yeah, so Miami had all those extra practices through 4 playoff games, and Cantwell got to participate in all of those. So same thing. Like I heard there's a freshman receiver coming in, and I think receiver might be the most stacked receiver and running back, probably the most stacked on the team. Samorian Wingo, who's coming in from St. Augustine as a true freshman. Like he was, I heard stories. Yeah, St. Augustine, Florida. Like
I went to St. Augustine, so
oh, you did?
Yeah.
No way.
Yeah.
I went there to see the Fountain of Youth one time. It's very disappointing.
No, St. Augustine in New Orleans.
Oh, in New Orleans. Yeah, that's right. You're from New Orleans. I'm like, well, I was thrown off there.
St. Augustine's in Florida. Ponce de Leon.
I'm not from Florida.
So I know, but you still confused me. Like,
right?
I thought maybe you spent a year there in transit or something.
You're not wrong, Dono.
I went to school. I went to the same school as Honey Badger, Leonard Fournette, Avery Johnson.
That's all fine and good, but when we think about St. Augustine,
I know
thinking about Ponce de Leon.
I should have been.
I'm so confused.
I should have been clearer. I should have been clearer. Leroy acting like a professor. He was
Leroy.
No show.
I need to know why he's still bothered by you by no showing nearly 26
But here's the kicker.
Yeah.
Right? The year that he was talking about, I wasn't even in the NFL. So I know it's not true.
I remember this argument from years ago that he accused you of showing a camp.
Yeah.
This has been going on for
Wait,
years.
and anybody that knows me knows this to be true. If I say I'm going to do something, I do it.
Yep.
You ain't never got to worry about that. So I wish he would stop that, because it doesn't bother me because I know me, but it's just not accurate.
You should sue him for defamation.
No, it's not worth the money.
Probably not.
Right. Yes,
Yeah.
I also went to the same high school as Carl Weathers. I did.
Really?
the same
See,
time
that got me more excited than any of those other names, including Leonard Forte, Carl Weathers,
Yeah.
Apollo Creed. I did not know that.
Yeah.
The master of disaster.
Yeah.
What was he like in high school?
You got jokes. You got jokes.
What do you mean?
Was he was way older
He's
than you?
20 years older than me.
I don't know.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
Carl looks like he's
Not
older than you.
anymore.
Well, I mean, obviously he's no longer with us.
Yeah.
Rest, God bless the dead. And he lost a hand in Happy Gilmore.
He did. The alligator bit his hand off.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh man. Okay. So with Darian Mensah arriving at Miami, he's been the talk of college football for the last week, Leroy, with the lawsuit, the controversy. People are just, basically accusing him of chasing a bag. People are accusing Miami of tampering, although Miami was not a
chasing the
defendant in
bag
lawsuit.
Hey, open your door and look outside. We all chasing the bag.
Oh,
you just
I chase
mad
the
because
bag every day.
you just mad he can get that bag earlier than we could.
Yeah.
That's it. That's it.
I mean, the system is what makes this all possible, Leroy. Because I see a lot of people are like, hey, well, this is ridiculous. You signed the contract. You honor the contract. Look, the problem even with the contract is
it's not a contract.
It's not an employment contract. Like, they are not employees. So it's a contract that sets the terms of what your marketing rights are worth. It's not supposed to be an employment contract.
Correct.
But, people don't want to bother actually reading the details on that. So, like, my view on this is, like, okay, it is a chaotic situation in college football. I mean, this was talked about, but not as much as Mensah because it's not a quarterback. But if you heard about the Luke Farrelly story, he's a linebacker who was at Cal. He transferred to Clemson, and he was in classes at Clemson. And then Pete Golding of Ole Miss, and Dabo Sweeney even had the text. He was reading the receipts. Pete Golding was like, hey, I know you signed. What's your buyout? And it was like blatant tampering. And then Luke Farrelly just left Clemson. He went to Ole Miss. So, but that's the system that we're in right now in college football.
What
it allows this stuff to happen.
You want to fix it? And I would say this. This is how I would put it. Until you have made us money, you can't make money. Now start by that.
Mm-hmm.
I think every kid should get a stipend. Then when you start playing, then you get your NIL deal. That incentivizes these kids to work hard to get to that point, because that's kind of how the real world works. Like, there's really no business in the world where they pay you with no bona fides.
Right.
And so I would say, I get that kids should make money. I'm not even disputing that. But if you give NIL to a kid that comes and he's not good enough to play, then you basically threw money away. And so from that standpoint, I think that if you want to separate the two, and you want to separate paying to play football versus NIL, I was from New Orleans. I went to Michigan. Those people in Michigan didn't know who the hell I was till my third year. Why? Because I wasn't local. So I wouldn't have got no NIL deal anyway. It would have basically been, we're going to give you some money to come to Michigan. So that's why it gets confusing. It gets confusing because you have given somebody money with no bona fides, with no, And so the NCAA could have had control of that. Say, listen, we'll give you a stipend. All the stipends are the same. Once you start playing, then you can negotiate your NIL deal, because then it would be considered an NIL deal. It's not an NIL deal if you come from Florida and you go to Notre Dame and Notre Dame, the people around Notre Dame don't know who you are. That's what NIL is to me.
That's what it's supposed to be, but it's not that anymore. It's pay for play disguised as NIL.
Correct.
Is what it is now.
Correct. Again, let's blame the NCAA, because when they could have had a grip on it, they fought it, and the courts decided to let it go, and everybody in every other state had to follow suit, because otherwise all of the NCAA kids would be in California.
That's true. Let's get to our headlines, brought to you by Doral Kia. You always pay less with your Pricito at Doral Kia. Visit us at Doral Kia or DoralKia.com. So we have Miami Heat basketball tonight at home, 7:30 p.m. Heat hosting the Orlando Magic is 3.5-point favorites tonight. You can hear the game on 104.3 WQAM. It's a double hoops night, Leroy, because we also have the Miami Hurricanes basketball team back home after a win at Syracuse. Hurricanes will host Stanford tonight at 9 o'clock. So you can, catch some of both games or have a two-screen experience. Go ahead, Vlad.
Got to give some love and I guess some criticism as well to the Florida Panthers. They lost last night to the Utah Mammoth 4-2. That was a tough loss, but they're back on the road tomorrow in St. Louis, which made no sense because they were just in the central area.
Why couldn't they just knock that one out?
I'm just saying, from
Weird
Chicago
scheduling.
to St. Louis, it's only an hour.
Maybe St. Louis wasn't in town.
That doesn't matter. But what?
You figure it out.
Yeah, they're the champs. You got to make some exceptions for the champs. There's got to be some leeway when you're the champion.
That's right. So that'll be tomorrow night on 104.3. What time is that going to be tomorrow night?
Tomorrow night on 104.3. I believe there's an 8 p.m. or 8:30 game. It's
Central time.
Central time. And aren't the Heat playing tomorrow as well?
Ooh,
I think they go to Chicago tomorrow. Yes, I think they're going to Chicago tomorrow to do that makeup.
Yep. Tomorrow night, 8
Chicago.
o'clock.
They play Chicago 3 times in a row.
Yeah, they the next 3 times in 4 days. So they played them Thursday, and I believe they played them Saturday and Sunday as well.
Jeez, it's like a playoff series.
That's what basically
middle of the regular season.
It's a play-in playoff series.
Yeah. So
they lost 4-3, Vlad. Swagger got to go.
I'm sorry, 4-3. They, you know what? Carter Verhaeghe did score a goal late, so you're right. It was 4-3, but it's a tough loss.
Yep. So meanwhile, we mentioned Miami Hurricanes have added for their football team for next season not only former star Duke quarterback Darian Mensah, who was second nationally in passing last year with almost 4,000 yards. They also add his top receiver, Cooper Barkate, over 1,100 receiving yards. So Miami has 2,000-plus returning receivers in Barkate and Malachi Toney. Of course, you got 1,100 yards of his own this past season. So that's what the Hurricanes football team has going on. Meanwhile, we're going to talk about this up next, Leroy. The rumors continue to swirl about Giannis Antetokounmpo and teams bidding for him before the trade deadline. We have from ESPN a hypothetical. This was written by Bobby Marks on what the Miami Heat might give up to get a Giannis deal done.
He's the trade guy.
He's the trade guy, yeah.
He's the trade guy. So we'll hear what Bobby has to say about what the Heat have to give up when we come back. You want to keep it right here, 104.3 WQAM. Welcome back into the Tobin and Leroy Show, 104.3 WQAM. Donno in for Tobin today. Where is Tobin? Is he calling some bare knuckle this week?
Yeah, he got bare knuckle. Today is media day.
Nice.
He'll be back tomorrow.
Yeah.
I love it.
And then we have Marcos for Froggy Fridays on Friday.
How about that?
Frog Day
Marcos
Fridays on Friday.
Yeah.
Frog Day Fridays. I love Marcos. He's a good dude. All right, so here's what Bobby Marks writes, and we can go through some of the other teams that he talks about how difficult the deal would be and what the most likely package would be. But we'll start with the Miami Heat, of course. So Marks grades the difficulty of the Heat getting a deal done at a 7 of 10 difficulty. He says Miami has the cap room, young players, and maybe a very important expiring contract to include in deals, but it can't trade a first-round pick until the next decade. But remember, Barry Jackson talked about a possible formula to get a couple of other picks into the mix if they can, strike a deal with Andrew Wiggins. But Marks continues, the Heat are positioned to take back Antetokounmpo's salary and still not be impeded by the first apron hard cap. From a contract standpoint, the Heat have 3 players earning more than $25 million, including former All-Stars Tyler Herro and Andrew Wiggins. Both players are free agents in 2027. Miami could also have the $26.6 million expiring contract of Terry Rozier, who is placed on leave by the NBA in October. While the Heat have young players such as Kel'el Ware and Jaime Jaquez Jr., a sticking point in any financial trade talks with Milwaukee would be Miami's 2 available firsts in 2030 and 2032. So, he doesn't go on to say who they would trade, which is kind of annoying. I was expecting that to be part of this story. But in short, you heard what he said there. We also know there is a possibility the Heat could strike a deal to get 2 extra first-round picks to trade. But Bobby Marks grades the deal at a 7 out of 10. Let me see what
as far as difficulty.
As far as difficulty, yeah, you're right. Thank you. Thank you for clarifying that. I don't want people to get the wrong idea.
It means that the chances are like 1 out of 2 out of 10.
Or 3 out of 10, I think, is what 7 out of 10 would mean in terms of difficulty. I mean, you're
the other way.
Yeah. All right. So here's the other teams that he writes summaries on. Atlanta Hawks, he says 7 out of 10. Detroit Pistons, 2 out of 10. Golden State Warriors, 2 out of 10. Houston Rockets, 7 out of 10.
Wait. Difficulty?
That's what he says. Deal difficulty, 8 out of 10.
So
for Minnesota, 7 out of 10.
So how is he saying that Golden State has a better chance of getting Giannis than
I think it's
Heat?
based on assets. But
who they have as assets? They gave up a lot. All right, go ahead.
I don't know. Maybe 2 out of 10 is less then. Maybe 7 out of 10 is better. I don't know. It's a little concerned. So you know what, Leroy? Maybe 7 out of 10 is good, and the Miami Heat are going to get this done. How about that?
7 out of 10 as far as chances of happening? He said difficulty, though.
That's what it says. I think we got to get Bobby Marks on to explain himself because I'm a little confused here. But I don't know. It says deal difficulty 7 of 10. But I don't know. If you're giving 2 out of 10 on Detroit, are you telling me he's going to be a Piston more likely than be a member of the Miami Heat? The cap money guy maybe doesn't explain the difficulty that well. But yeah, I continue to see obviously links and confirmations, Leroy, that Miami would make an aggressive approach. But it sounds like a bunch of other teams are. We know the Knicks can and will. The Hawks, Houston are other teams that are mentioned that could aggressively pursue this. So, I mean, I just know, Leroy, the next 8 days up until the trade deadline, because if something happens, it's probably not happening till that day, right? Like you can't imagine Milwaukee's not going to strike a deal tonight if they could let this simmer for another week, right?
They're going to wait till the last minute.
Yeah, it's going to happen at the last minute, I think. So this is going to be exciting stuff.
I mean, to be honest with you, it just seems like this is one of those situations where it's just going to out of nowhere happen quick. And everybody's going to go, what?
Yeah,
that just seems like how this thing's going to work out.
Yep. Yeah, it does seem that way. You know, I know that going back to Marc Stein had mentioned combination from Miami's like best offer could be a combination of Kel'el Ware, Tyler Herro, and draft capital, multiple first-round picks. So you'd have to wonder if that could be enough, right? So
I mean,
man.
Tyler Herro, we've been talking about trades ever since he gave up, ever since they signed him, right? Which is crazy.
Yeah, it's been years. He's been traded hypothetically to
every time
his.
But I'm gonna say this: every time his name is mentioned in the same sense with a trade, he gets hurt.
He's hurt now.
Yeah.
Yeah. Man. And you got Miami Heat taking on the Orlando Magic tonight. In the Arena, Heat are currently 7 seed right now if it were to end today. Is that, I mean, has it met your expectations so far, Leroy? Because we had some good flashes early in the year, have had some flashes recently on the road trip, but I expected the Heat at the beginning of the season to end the season right where they're at, right? Somewhere in the play-in zone. So they have neither exceeded or fell short of my expectations so far.
Here's what I think. I think for the last 5 years, every time this team gets in a groove with a rotation, with everything clicking the way they actually want it, somebody or a couple of guys get hurt, and then you have to kind of start moving things around. And then when those guys get back, or you make a trade or something, then you say, oh, we need 20 games to figure this out. And there's never been any real consistency on the roster for the last 5 years. Even when Jimmy was here, even when they went to the finals, there was still never any consistency. And I would say one of the things that you could say about teams that have won championships is, one, they've been extremely healthy, something the Heat have not been. And two, they've always had a guy on the court who was aware of the situation. And I would say this: there were times when Jimmy was here that no matter what was going on, Jimmy was going to be Jimmy. And I think you need that alpha male on the court that recognizes, oh, we're sucking right now, time for me to take over. And the teams that have that, they don't always win. But what it does do is it gets everybody back. Like, you can get everybody back in the flow of things when you go and get a couple of buckets. The Heat don't have that. They have a whole team of guys that pass the ball around the perimeter waiting for somebody else to do it. And so from that standpoint, I think you need that guy first. It don't even have to be a great one, but good enough that hey, we struggling in the third quarter, he can go get you a quick 10 points, 8 points. Yeah. Has Jimmy ever been that guy? Jimmy's had games like that where he scored 20 in a quarter, or
not consistently,
25 and a half, but he's never been that guy when they go through third quarter that says, I got to take it over.
Yep. Yeah, a lot of times Jimmy just felt more like being facilitator than actually trying to take the game into his hands.
And even when you talk about the big three with D-Wade, LeBron, and Bosh, all three of those guys have been that guy. So they had to figure out, how to incorporate that, let everybody eat. But when it got to that point, either D-Wade or LeBron was going to take over the game.
Yep. And it got even better the second year when they kind of figured out it should really be LeBron. Because I think the first year, LeBron was like, maybe it should be Wade some nights because this was his team before.
They basically, the first year, they did it like they did it here. They do it now. You be the guy. You be the guy.
Right.
You be the guy.
Right.
And if you look at all these other teams, we can go through the roster, and even though other guys may have big games and be big contributors, you know who the guy is.
Leroy, you doing any radio hits or anything in Cleveland today? Because I'm following all of this Jim Schwartz drama, and this is Yeah, I know you'd mentioned earlier that, that Schwartz was going to stay there and be the DC under Todd Monken, who was the head coach. And then you mentioned Schwartz is leaving. But then I'm reading this report from Mike Florio on Pro Football Talk. The Browns had a dilemma: promote Jim Schwartz from DC to head coach or risk losing him. They rolled the dice. They hired Todd Monken, and now Schwartz wants out. And how about this, Leroy? Via NFL Network, Schwartz was visibly upset when he learned that the job was going to Monken. Schwartz also reportedly told other coaches he is not coming back. Per the report, Schwartz anticipated being hired. He'd already told others that if he didn't get the job, he'd leave. So I didn't realize there was this much drama going on. He's visibly upset by this.
Which is probably part of the reason why he didn't get the job.
Yeah.
Like some of the things that folks were saying about Jim Schwartz. He's an excellent coach. But the relationships that he has with others is sometimes strained because he's a defensive-minded coach. And I've told you about those guys. Yeah. Hell, we had Nick Saban on Bill Belichick's staff, and we used to have to tell him daily, hey, you're too loud, we can't hear. The way he was going off on the defensive guy. Now, in fairness to the defense, when he left, they damn near cried, grown-ass men, because they loved him. But that's just defensive mentality.
Where was it he went when he left that job? Was that Michigan State? Where was it?
He went to Michigan State.
Went to Michigan State, yeah.
So, but when some of these things are happening, the hardest thing, like I used to have somebody tell me, and I use this all the time, you don't have to tell me who you are. You'll show me. Mm-hmm. So the fact that Jim Schwartz is reacting this way says what? That the Browns may be, right?
Yeah.
And it's hard. Here's the hard part. A coach will stand in front of his players and say, nothing's given here, you earn it. And now you have a coach responding like that? You see what I mean?
His ball, he's going home.
Now, in fairness to him, he would have been a viable option. The team would have loved to have him as a head coach. The players. Okay? But when you bring up his resume and it says abrasive,
yeah,
how you gonna handle that? The other thing is you need somebody that can handle that quarterback situation. First and foremost, that's the most important thing on that team right now.
Yep.
Is that quarterback situation.
And that's what Monken does.
How is he going to handle that from defensive side of the ball? You see what I mean? Because think of what I told you about defensive coordinators and defensive coaches. Now I want you to have that guy talking to young quarterbacks. Right?
Yeah. Well, and you know what? There's also there's a tie-in for Todd Monken to the Miami Hurricanes, even though he didn't coach here. Gabby Urrutia from Inside the U shared the story because Carson Beck started his Georgia career with Monken as the OC, and like they really clicked. And then Monken left for the NFL. Mike Bobo came back, and it never really worked between Beck and Bobo. And Beck, when he left Georgia last year, people were trying to soil his reputation and stuff. And Monken, who's got some connections to Shannon Dawson at Miami staff, really went to bat for Beck. He was like, you don't have to worry about the character. You don't have to worry about his style. Like, I don't know if Carson Beck would have been the Hurricanes quarterback this past year if not for Todd Monken, like, endorsing him in a big-time way. So, he helped, I guess. Monken is partially to thank for, I know Miami didn't win the whole thing, but they got darn near close, and Carson Beck was a big part of that. So.
Hey, the same quarterback that got you there also did Carson Beck things.
Yeah, we got the full ride. We got the full Carson Beck experience.
You know what? But I know a lot of quarterbacks that are like that, but you wouldn't trade them for the world.
No. No.
You know who leads the league in picks?
Who?
In the history of Brett Favre.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
And
but you
and I would tell you, And I would tell you, every time we played Brett Favre, the defense would say this to start Monday. Just catch the ones he throws to you, because he's going to throw something to you.
Yeah.
But when he doesn't, he was something special.
Yeah.
Right? But we can go into the playoffs. We can go to championships or whatever, right? And what ended the game of the season?
Interception.
Right. But you couldn't get rid of him because he was special.
Yeah.
There's quarterbacks that are like that,
Carson,
man. With
Carson, go ahead.
Look at Josh Allen. You know he got that in him. That 4 turnover game. But he's so special. We deal with it. We ride with Josh. They roll with Favre.
Yep. And Miami rolled with Beck, and he ended the season with an interception, but he also scored the touchdown in the Ole Miss game that got them into that game in the first place.
He was unbelievable against Ole Miss. Because the team was playing kind of sloppy with the penalties. And that last drive was something special. And you say that's why we have Carson Beck. Which
that's right. Well,
it seemed like the game was playing out the same way, right?
Yeah. Hold on. We got a final segment coming up before we hand it off to Hawk and Crowder. You want to keep it right here, FM 104.3 WQAM. Welcome back into the Tobin and Leroy show here on 104.3 WQAM. So I'm looking, Vlad, through this article on Bleacher Report. Trade ideas after latest bombshell report. Most exciting destinations for Giannis Antetokounmpo. Let's see if they include the Heat on this list, as we do understand the Heat will make an aggressive approach to try to land Giannis. Milwaukee is open to trade him. Giannis understands his time at Milwaukee is coming to an end, and they could get a deal done by the trade deadline. You know, one enticing possibility, Lakers pair Giannis with Luka Doncic. Giannis gets his preferred landing spot, the Knicks, which I know would make Vlad very happy. The Spurs pair Giannis with Wemby. The Trailblazers crash the party. I have heard some Portland buzz, actually. How about this one? Heat get back into the superstar business with Giannis. They say Miami gets Giannis Antetokounmpo and Thanasis Antetokounmpo. The Bucks would get Tyler Herro, Simone Fontecchio. Why did it have to be Fontecchio? Nikola Jovic, Kel'el Ware, a 2030 first-round pick, a 2031 first-round pick swap, and a 2032 first-round pick. So, Leroy, would you be willing to, because I know you're more of a stickler for this than me. I say trade whatever you need to get Giannis, but
Right.
Would you be willing to part ways with Fontecchio, Herro, Jovic, and Kel'el Ware along with draft picks?
Jovic and Kel'el.
Yeah, it's a lot.
I mean, I'm gonna say yes, but you've gone from being one of the younger teams to being one of the older teams, and the things that have plagued you the last 5 years have a chance of continuing to, so now I'm looking at Bam, I'm looking at Wiggins, Giannis, Powell, and Davion as starters,
Yeah.
right?
I think Vlad might be running the point.
No, you got Davion. Davion,
Yeah, I know.
Davion's okay.
Thanks, Donald.
I'm trying to throw in for Vlad there.
Yeah, it could work for a couple years. You know what I mean?
Would you elevate the Heat as high as championship favorites or top two with that team with Giannis?
No, I'm not saying they can't win, but that doesn't elevate them into. I think they finished 5 or 6 seed.
Yeah,
but it's not the damn play-in.
not enough shooting.
And what I would say is you get these guys into the playoffs, then all bets are off. I still wonder about the shooting.
Yep, that's what I wonder about.
But I don't know. I think I would do it, but I'm one of those people that you have to guarantee me this does what this year.
Yeah.
You see what I mean?
If I could guarantee you a championship, even one championship, you go all in.
Then it's worth
all
it.
in.
Then it's worth it. But I'm saying when. You see what I mean? Because you make a move like that, you think it's going to happen pretty quick.
Yeah, oh, sure. I mean, the window is not 5 or 6 years. The window.
See, if somebody like the Knicks did it, they're basically getting a better star than they traded for earlier.
Yeah. Man, well, we're going to continue to monitor the situation.
I think the key thing though is that they are they're getting younger, and I think that's you had a good run. Now you want to get running, get some assets, get some young players, run it back.
Yeah, man. I mean, we've been in the play-in every year for how long? Well, I appreciate you guys giving me the opportunity to hang out with you today in for Tobin. Bless Tobin over in Texas. I hope he has a great media day today and a good call for the bare knuckle. Jay Fig, shout out to Jay Fig, shout out to Vlad. doing an awesome job. And, of course, to Leroy Horde. And I know throughout the week, you'll hear it on Hawk and Crowder and Solana coming up. The guys will continue to react to this Giannis Antetokounmpo mania that's happening right now in the NBA, where the Milwaukee Bucks are fielding offers in earnest to possibly deal him before the trade deadline. Hawk, Crowder, and Solana are coming your way next. We'll talk to you next time on the Tobin and Leroy Show right here on FM 104.3 WQAM.